vision, we aim to prepare future public health professionals by engaging in cross-cutting research and practicing innovative solutions for the health and well-being of all. Mission: our faculty is engaged in cutting-edge research to address emerging public health issues. Together, we address public health challenges with evidence-based research and policies to improve population health.
Hello and a very good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Manisha, lecturer, Department of Public Health, ZABIST University. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a heartfelt welcome to all our esteemed guests, panelists, faculty members, and dear students to this auspicious occasion of the 2nd Public Health Symposium 2024. A very warm welcome to all. The proceedings will commence with a recitation of few verses from the glorious Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر
Indeed, we have granted you, O Muhammad, Al-Kawthar.
فصل لربك وانحر
So pray to your Lord and sacrifice to Him alone.
إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
Indeed, your enemy is the one cut off.
Jazakallah khair. Today, we came together for a thought-provoking panel session as the part of the second Public Health Symposium themed The Role of Technology in Addressing Population Health and Climate Change. Our focus today revolves around a critical topic, strategizing population growth challenges, innovations and technology in the era of climate change. Let's embark on this journey together, exploring how cutting-edge technology is transforming solutions for population health and combating climate change. Once again, welcome and thank you for being part of this significant event. Before we commence our panel discussion, I would like to extend a formal invitation to our esteemed professor, Dr. Mehtab Karim, who will be chairing the session. Dr. Mehtab Karim is a distinguished demographer currently serving as a professor at ZABIST Department of Public Health. He holds the esteemed position of Distinguished Senior Fellow at George Mason University School of Public Policy in the USA. With a background encompassing a master's in the population studies and research methods from the University of Chicago and a PhD in demography and human development from Cornell University. Sir, we kindly request you to come on the stage to share your valuable thoughts with us.
Assalamu alaikum, dear students and our worthy guest, Dr. Talib Lashari, who also happened to be my student some time ago, and then many others who are here. That includes Dr. Ms. Shazia Masood, Mr. Asif Iqbal, former colleague, Dr. Seema Mumtaz, Mr. Azim Khwaja, Mr. Umair Aslam, and of course, the purpose behind this conference, Dr. Samira Rizvi, who also happens to be my student from our Khan days. And of course, students, I see many of my former students who are sitting here. So what I'm going to say today may be a repetition of what I have taught some of you, so never mind. Okay. So with all of you, warm welcome to ZABIST. You know, it's a pleasure to be talking to you on an issue which is very important for all of us, and especially nowadays when we are living in extreme weather conditions. Situation is not so conducive to go outside. So nice of ZABIST to have a nice air-conditioned auditorium. Okay. Now, the topic is climate change and population health. I have some slides which I would share with you later, but let me talk briefly about what it is all about. Climate change, basically what it means that whatever the climate which was determined by the nature centuries ago, it has been gradually changing. And more recently, changing very fast. And mainly because of our own doing. I don't want to dwell upon that because our other panelists are going to talk more about it. But it has a direct impact on human health. That is the main contention of our seminar today. Okay, climate change presents a fundamental threat to human health. It affects the physical environment as well as the aspects of both natural and human systems, including social and economic conditions and the functioning of health systems. It is therefore a threat multiplier, undermining and potentially reversing decades of progress in the field of health. Climatic conditions change more frequently, and intensifying weather and climate events are observed, including storms, extreme heat, floods, drought, and fortunately we don't have it, but also wildfires. Mainly it occurs in countries like California, in states like California and US, and also in Australia very frequently. Climate change is also having an impact on a health workforce. And I'll share with you some of these slides about how it is. Also on infrastructure, when the delivery of health services becomes difficult, especially in extreme weather conditions, as currently being noticed particularly in the southern part of the country. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is a UN body, assessment reports concluded that climate risks are appearing faster and will become more severe sooner than previously expected, and it will be harder to adapt with increased global heating. Despite contributing minimally to global emissions, less developed countries like Pakistan endure the hardest health impacts. For example, in vulnerable regions, death rate from extreme weather events in the last decade was 15 times higher than in less vulnerable ones. Climate change is impacting health in very, very different ways, including by leading to death and illness from increasing frequent extreme weather and water-borne diseases. Recent research attributes 37% of heat-related deaths to human-induced climate change. Heat-related deaths among those over 65 have risen by 70% in last 2 decades. The World Health Organization conservatively projects 250,000 additional yearly deaths by very soon by 2030 due to climate change, resulting in flooding, increasing in incidence of, and especially increasing incidence of malaria. Okay. Now, the situation in Pakistan, as perhaps you have been reading, or that this year, there have been an increase of about little more than 1 centigrade in the global temperature since 1800. So this is the worst decade we are facing. This rise in temperature results in a greater number of unfortunate events such as drought, flooding, etc. In Pakistan, the intensity of heat waves has increased markedly, making it favorable for dehydration. Pakistan is bound to be greatly affected by this crisis due to its geographic location, depending on agriculture, and the weak healthcare system. And of course, add to that the fast-growing population. The recent findings on the impact of climate change on health in Pakistan are very alarming. United Nations report claims that 44% of children suffer from stunted growth primarily because of malnutrition. This is a serious consequence of Pakistan's food insecurity and poverty, which is linked to climate change. Okay. Now, in this background, what do we need to do, or what do we need to know? Please, can you put the slides? Okay, go back. Now, climate change and health. These are the two SDGs. All of you know that, Sustainable Development Goals. And if you have any more questions, our friend is sitting here. He has spoken to you about SDGs, I think some of the students. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, and take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So there are two SDGs, main goals, which are looking at that, and that's what we are going to talk today. Okay. Now, what is climate change? Climate change is directly contributing to humanitarian emergencies from heat waves, floods, and tropical storms, and they are increasing in scale, frequency, and intensity. Research shows that 3.6 billion people already live in areas highly susceptible to climate change. And it's going to get worse as we progress from 2030 to 2050. Areas with weak health infrastructure, like ours, mostly in developing countries, and Pakistan is not an exception, will be the least able to cope without assistance to prepare and respond. Okay, now these are some risk factors, what we call burden of diseases. And if you look at that, air pollution and outdoor and indoor both contribute, are the major contribution to the burden of diseases. This is based on the disability adjusted life years. What basically means that how many people are affected due to various diseases and various factors leading to those diseases. And you can see that air pollution is at the top of the list. Okay. And if you just look at the indoor air pollution by itself, it's about 50% of the cause of, Delhi. So, and that is where women are the main sufferers because of smoke. They have to bear working within the kitchen, okay? I'm sure that many of you are exception to that, but think of those who are working in small kitchens or especially in rural areas. So climate change impacts health both directly and indirectly, and is strongly mediated by environment, social, and public health issues. For example, climate change leads to health risk. There's several vulnerable factors, and at the top of it is a demographic, geographic, biological, socioeconomic, health system, gender inequality, and then how it happens and what are the who are exposed to it: people and communities, health workforce, infrastructure, energy system, water system, food system, health system. And among the health system, several patterns of the diseases emerge: injury, heat-related illness, respiratory illness, waterborne diseases, vector-borne diseases, malnutrition, non-communicable diseases, and mental and psychological health. So these are, and then of course, health outcomes facilities are also affected due to climate change. Okay, this is an overview of looking at some major, the US Global Change Research Program clarified that the health outcomes caused by climate drivers are depicted as such that environmental and institutional context, climate drivers, exposure pathways, and their impact on various categories of behavioral and social context. And it's not only a direct impact, for example, due to temperature increase, precipitation, flood, storm, drought, heat waves, increased temperature. These are the direct impact, and there are also indirect impact: biodiversity, migration, and conflict. When people move from one area to another area, their conflict come out of that, waterborne diseases, vector-borne diseases. So they are direct impact as well as indirect impact of climate change. But now coming to some areas which are of my main interest, the demographics. Rapid population growth is one of the key factors which, combined with climate change and health infrastructure lead to shortage of food, extreme poverty, poor mother and child health, water scarcity, breakdown of civil infrastructure, deforestation when population is growing, forests are becoming smaller and smaller, and people are, because they also use forest wood, and then they need the land to use for housing purposes. So these are different issues which one has to look at. For example, and if you look at, maybe some of you have already, I have shared it with you, that Pakistan is the fastest growing country among, of course, Europe. Many of them are having negative growth of population, including China, which recently recorded negative growth. And from India to Iran to Turkey to Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh, they are all, or at least between 1 and 1.3% annual growth, whereas Pakistan is twice that. So that's one thing which which has been ignored, and I have not looked, I've tried to look at the literature, and very little studies have been done, and I think that's what you need to do, that how population growth in combination with climate change have an important impact on health system, one, and then health outcomes, second. And it is mainly due to, unfortunately, the failure of Pakistan's family planning program. If you look at many countries, Pakistan is far, far behind in this. Look at the yellow bar, and yellow bar shows that what is the rate of contraceptive use, which has a direct impact on population growth rate. And Pakistan is at the same level, for example, as Yemen, a poor country, a war-torn country, and all other countries in the Middle East are doing much better than Pakistan. And not only in the comparing with countries in the Middle East, but also when you look at countries in South Asia. Pakistan is far, far behind, and that's why the growth rate of population, or if you can look at, you can say the average number of children born in Pakistan is almost twice than, or about 40% higher than all its neighbors. Okay. One very interesting example is how countries like Bangladesh has been able to, and I don't want to go into detail about how they are tackling the climate change issue, but one thing which is very interesting to look at, that the way they have been able to handle their population growth rate. If you look at, in 1970, Bangladesh had 6 million more people. In year 2000, or in 2020, Pakistan has 56 million more people, and is going to, the difference is going to widen further. Okay, and that has an impact on all aspects of life, whether you talk about infant mortality rate, life expectancy at birth, GDP, or ranking in the Human Development Index. Pakistan is, as a matter of fact, this is data coming from 2020 when Pakistan was ranked 156. Just last month, the report released by UNDP ranks Pakistan as 164. So Pakistan is in the worst condition because of the way things are in terms of our health system, the way it's working, and the way population is growing. And look at the GDP per capita. Pakistan had a better GDP per capita in 1980 as compared to all South Asian countries. And just look at where we are at the lowest level. So that's where we are because of different reasons, and one of them is population growth rate, of course. Our infant mortality rate and overall death rate has not declined as it has declined in other countries. We still have about infant mortality rate which is more than twice than Bangladesh and India, and about much, much higher than Sri Lanka and Maldives. So in that situation, what is the impact of this high growth rate? We have a situation where infant mortality rate has not gone down that much as it has gone down, for example, in Bangladesh. And Pakistan has recorded only a very small gain in life expectancy at birth as compared to, again, Bangladesh, which has it has gained about 14 and a half years in life expectancy as against 6.7 years in Bangladesh during the last 30 years. Now, who are the people who are suffering the most? Those who are the poorest. They have very high, if you look at this is demographic and health survey data, those who are poorest have high number of children born to them, and they have look at their high infant mortality rate, and look at their malnourishment, 48%. About half of the children are malnourished as compared to, of course, those who are richest, about 16%. So that is, it's spreading, especially as those who are the poorest and lower middle class, they are suffering from acute malnutrition. Then going to, I think these are the last two slides I have. One important aspect is that because of this population growth rate, the farm size, the number of those or percentage of those who are working on subsistence farming is increasing from, say, from 51% in 1980 to 72%. That means that they are the poorest of the poor who are living in the rural areas. And another impact of climate change is the one when I had talked about the shortage of water. As the population is increasing, the per capita availability of water, especially for agriculture purposes, is declining. So what it means that as we go into the next decade, the situation is going to get worse related to availability of water due to climate change. With that, I would end here, but there are certain what needs to be done, just few points. Number one is promote action that reduce population growth rate, carbon emission, and improve health situation, especially for the poor communities. Build better, more climate resilient and environmentally sustainable health system, and protect health from the wide range of impact of climate change. With that, I'd like to end here and welcome our speakers to talk more detail about how the situation is likely to be.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise. Now I would like to take the opportunity to invite a respected guest speaker, Ms. Shazina Masood, who is a public health specialist and an independent global health consultant. Ms. Shazina Masood has rich experience in leading diverse public health initiatives in both the public and private sectors. Ma'am, I welcome you on the stage to share your expertise and experiences.
Thank you very much. First, it's a really great honor to be standing over here in front of all of you. I don't think I've spoken to students for nearly 20 years now. I used to teach at the IBA at the beginning of my career. And so now this is going to be a really good experience for me. It is a very hard act to follow to be talking after Dr. Mehtab Karim, but I will try and shed some light on the topic that I had been given, which is innovating for health, family planning, and climate resilience. And we are navigating the nexus, right? Next slide, please. So when you look at the impact of what is happening in climate change, there are a few things that come out really very starkly. One is the health impact and vulnerabilities. Let me just take it out here so I don't have to look at the back. Give me a second. Yeah. So basically what we are looking at over here is that obviously, as Dr. Mehtab has also kind of highlighted, that the climate change is actually exacerbating the health indicators, right? And this is leading to spread of infectious diseases, especially for the vulnerable communities. And we talked about the poor communities who don't have the resources. Innovative technology based on solutions that protect communities from epidemics and natural disasters obviously improve life and longevity. The second thing to look at is the adaptation strategies. One of the things that we need to do as communities and as people is to be able to adapt to what is happening. Because whatever you're going to do to slow the climate change is not going to take place very, very quickly. We have seen that, right? We've been talking about climate change changes for now 20 to 30 years, but there hasn't been much improvement. So strengthening healthcare infrastructure that is accessible, especially in vulnerable regions, is essential for managing climate-related health risks, such as heat waves, vector-borne diseases, and food insecurity. And then there is the population pressure and the resource stress. Again, something that Dr. Mehtab already spoke about, that when you have rapid population growth, it strains resources, especially like water and food, leading to malnutrition, displacement, and conflicts over scarce resources. We haven't seen water wars so far, but we have seen all the strikes and processions that are taken out because there's this excessive load shedding, which is obviously causing stress on the people. Addressing family planning alongside climate resilience strategies can help alleviate these pressures and build more sustainable communities. And the last is very close to my heart, and I feel which is the crux of the work that needs to be done, and which is women empowerment, right? Women often bear the responsibility for family health and management of natural resources. And that may not be so much in urban communities, but definitely in the rural communities. So empowering women through access to education, reproductive health care, and family planning services not only enhances their health and well-being, but also contributes to climate resilience. And I'll try and show it to you as we proceed along with this presentation. Can we go to the next slide, please? So who is impacted the most by the climate crisis that we are facing? Of course, the vulnerable population. But who is the vulnerable population? It is both in the urban and the rural communities, right? Why? Because the urban slums are very congested. They have limited resources. They are, large number of people inhabiting very small spaces. Their per capita income isn't too high, and they have limited access to quality health solutions. When you look at the rural communities, and we were just talking about it with Dr. Talib as well, is that they are inaccessible, basically, right? They are in remote locations. Health facilities are not there or not functioning completely, mainly because of human resources as well, not only the infrastructure. And you have basic education levels over there. So teaching and behavior change with rural communities is that much more challenging than it is for urban communities. What are some of the, and the most vulnerable, which is a part of the audience sitting over here, are youth, women, and girls, right? Of both urban and rural, I would say that women and youth and girls are the most vulnerable. What are some of the solutions that we can talk about? Education methodologies. People don't talk about that too much when we talk about health, but we do need a multi-sectoral approach towards improving or alleviating the impact. Technological innovations in health and agriculture, and then traditional practices that strengthen women's agency. Youth. So can we go to the next one? So we look at youth, and I'm so happy that Adnan is here because we have been talking about youth and how important it is. And one of the reasons that it is important, especially for Pakistan, is because it is the largest segment of population now in Pakistan. And if any change that has to happen has to be targeted at them. The definition of youth is 15 to 29 years old, so all of you who are falling in that range, this is addressed for you. You have common experiences, you have similar needs, and the best thing is the ability to understand and use technology is there with youth. They have not been taught. They know how to get around it, and they are able to, navigate it. They're also mobile and adaptable. So youth have a resilience that is not there in the older people. And so they go and they will look for where their interests are because they have to survive, right? And we have seen that in the changing work patterns. We have seen that in how they're adopting different careers. We have seen that in their family planning choices and their sexual behavior patterns. So there is a change. And we have to focus on youth to be able to improve the effects of climate change. What are some of the challenges that we are facing in this? One is the volatile environment, right? Like lack of suitable education tools. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit in detail. Rising prices, population growth. Again, we come back to that. Social media, while it is really a great source of entertainment for a lot of people, not only youth, and I see a lot of you still looking at it, but it can also be a source of misinformation. And we have no way to distinguish between what is right and what is not right because everything sounds so authentic. We don't have role models. Why? Not because there are not enough good people in this world or in your households, only because they have not navigated the world of today. The world of today is very, very different. And so you can't really learn from them. You have to learn yourself on how to chart your path. So with this in the background, I would like to go on and look at the first area which I highlighted, which is education, right? And how do we bring in innovation in education, which is suited more to our world of today? There is emphasis on technology-enabled learning. Some of these elements are there in how we are modeling education in Pakistan as well, but it is not enough to cater to the population of youth that are here. So e-learning platforms, mobile applications, digital classrooms provide access to educational resources, interactive lessons, and remote learning opportunities, even in remote areas with limited infrastructure. Open education resources, which can be digital textbooks, online courses, and educational videos are cost-effective and accessible learning materials. We experimented in this a little bit during COVID, but it is something which has not really scaled up. Community-focused education, prioritizing the involvement of local communities, families, and stakeholders in the design and delivery of educational programs. Contextualized education within the local socio-cultural context addresses community needs and priorities, like agriculture, and I'll talk about this more in detail, livestock management, resilient infrastructure, etc., ensuring sustainability and that education meets the need of youth effectively. And finally, we are talking about blended learning models. What are blended learning models? They combine the traditional face-to-face classroom teaching that you have, and you have then the online courses that are accessible to you. So they suit your lifestyle. They suit the fact that you might be remote or the students might be remote. Next one, please. Then we come to peer-to-peer learning networks. I'm going over this quickly. In case you have any questions, please feel free to ask me if you need more detail. But peer-to-peer, we used to talk about peer-to-peer behavior change, right? We used to have peer agents who would go to schools. They would talk about their own experiences and they would share them, and that led to behavior change. Peer-to-peer learning networks are something similar. When somebody is educated and they can relate to their own age group, they are better, teachers, and they can be leveraged for collaborative learning. So youth-led initiatives such as peer tutoring programs, study groups, and student-led workshops create opportunities for knowledge sharing and peer support, complementing formal education structures and fostering a culture of lifelong learning. Finally, flexible and lifelong learning opportunities. Learning doesn't stop at age 18 or 22 or 24 or 26. Learning is a lifelong process. And having systems, tools, processes that encourage that and that can provide you with the changing subject matter is really very important. So having those kind of technological tools available are really important. These innovations have been tried in different countries, have been found to be workable, and they can work in Pakistan as well, of course. But there are certain conditions that we have to be considering. One is that the subjects or the things that we are teaching need to be relevant subjects. You cannot still teach them things that were taught to me, for example, around X number of years. They are not relevant any longer. They don't add anything to you in terms of skill and learning, right? One of the basic things that you learn through education are tools. You don't learn you don't learn a lot of what is in that course book, but you get the tools to handle life. And that is what is needed in this case as well. Number of years needed to get your degrees or for the youth to get their degrees is essential. You can now not wait to be 28 years old before you become a doctor. And technology is helpful in that. It can teach you, it can encapsulate a lot of the learning in very small bites and make you skilled enough to go out in the world and do the work that you need to do. So that is really one of the key elements of new innovations in education. The teaching staff, of course, has to be skilled up to use new teaching technologies and subjects. If they are hesitant to do that, then obviously they cannot share their knowledge. And then barriers for girls and older youth access to education should be removed. There is stigma for older people to study. There's lack of opportunity. And for girls and women, we already know that they have other responsibilities, and because of that, their focus on education is not as much as it should be. Moving on to the next one, we have got technology for health, and I hope that this is going to be interesting for you. So again, the things that I've mentioned on this slide specifically are already available in Pakistan. What is not available is that they've not been tried for their full potential, nor are they scaled up. And this is something that needs to be done. So we all know about telemedicine, at least I know that the front row does. Telemedicine and SRH apps that are there. And some of the telemedicine efforts have been very successful. But when you're looking at the population that we have, and you're looking at the different communities that we are serving, then there is a need to scale it up and to scale up the quality and the way that it is being offered as well. Similarly, for sexual and reproductive health apps that are available, they're very useful for the youth. But there are other target groups which need something similar. Then you have HIS, right, which is Health Information System. How do you streamline data collection and electronic medical records, improve patient care continuity, and enable remote healthcare delivery? And it helps even the medical provider to track your medical history and give you a better diagnosis. I have specifically mentioned over here Shine Humanity. And the reason that I have done that is that I'm on the board of Shine Humanity. It's a very small NGO which offers primary health care in Sindh. They've got 13 outlets. And I was amazed to see how they are utilizing the electronic medical record for the communities and using that data to analyze what kind of services they need to be providing, what kind of medicines they need to be getting, what kind of tests they need to be conducting to better serve the community. And that is the biggest advantage of technology in medicine. And then, of course, point-of-care diagnostics is it actually brings health to the community, right? So when we talk about climate disasters and situations where you cannot go to a brick-and-mortar clinic, or you cannot go to a BHU, you cannot go to a big hospital, these kind of diagnostics help in getting help where it is needed, right? And health services where they are needed. So this is one of the things that is being used over here, but needs to be scaled up. Then artificial intelligence algorithms for rapid and accurate diagnosis of diseases, improving healthcare efficiency and accessibility. Khan obviously is a leader in that at the moment. The amount of work that they have done in that, they have done simulation for so many things through AI. But again, scaling it up, making sure it's available to everyone, everyone is able to use it is really very important. Remote monitoring devices, which are wearable and portable. A lot of us wear these watches which tell us how many miles did we walk, how many steps did we do, did we sleep well or not. I don't use it because it would drive me crazy, but I know that a lot of people do. But when these devices are connected to your medical doctor as well, then they are able to track when you need help. And there are a couple of organizations right now, HealthX is one of them, EasyShify is another one of them, who's using these kind of robotic machines where you can test yourself when you know what your vitals are like. And so you don't need to go to the hospital just because you discover something immediately. You can monitor this, and your medical doctor can monitor it as well. Again, like I said, if anyone has any questions, want me to go into details, I can do that later on. Then there are, of course, health drones or unarmed vehicles, right? Which can get to remote places, take the medicines over there, transport things. And this was, I remember when I was outside Pakistan in Africa in around 2010, this was tried in Madagascar, because Madagascar has a very different, very difficult terrain, and it is very difficult for people to go even on foot to remote places. And they were using these drones to transport medicines at that time. And I'm sure this is something that we can introduce over here. And then, of course, we all know about solar-powered health solutions, with like vaccine refrigerators, medical equipment, and off-grid healthcare facilities, ensuring continuous provision of essential healthcare services, reducing reliance on fossil fuels, and enhancing climate resilience. And that is the point. It is not the point. The point is not only that you get your health service at the moment that you need it. It means that you do it with least harm to the environment. So there is that aspect to look at as well, because the fewer fossil fuels that you burn, the better it is in the long term for us as a community and a country. Next, please. Now I come to the really interesting part. At least it was very interesting to me. So I looked at some health technologies which are using AI and which are being tested right now. One of them is Hive. Hive is looking at a AI-powered cough monitoring system that has the ability of diagnosing tuberculosis and other ailments just by deciphering the cough. Now, cough is the most common ailment that one has. People say, oh, I'm coughing, but I don't know what's going on, right? The doctor says, we'll give you different kind of medicines for your cough, because there's no way to tell in the initial stages, why do you have a cough? There are people who cough for years on end, and there's no solution to it. This AI-powered solution is able to diagnose through your cough. You can just WhatsApp, record it on your phone, send it to your doctor, and they're able to diagnose what your problem could be, right? And that obviously results in improved health, DALYs, and all of that. Then AfyaTech is something that I was reading about. They introduced it in Tanzania, and the purpose is the same. The purpose is that it is connecting the community health person with the provider and the patient. And they've used it very successfully. In Pakistan, we always have an issue with no internet or not the ability of having a device with you or the ability to use a device, right? But if it has been tried in a low resource setting in Tanzania, I'm sure it can be introduced over here as well. Then we have Dynamic, which is a first generation of algorithms-powered tablets for personalized diagnosis and treatment, connected to biosensors and rapid point-of-care tests, serving to help health workers understand if a child or adolescent patient requires an antibiotic prescription in Africa. Like in Africa and Pakistan, we overdiagnose antibiotic use, which leads to resistance to antibiotics, right? Which is very dangerous for you in the long run. And how do you prevent that? How do you really determine when you need an antibiotic and when you don't? And this is one of the things that have been tried and is successful. Then there's saliva-based pregnancy test. So just from the saliva, you can detect whether a woman is pregnant or not. And it can be just one day after her period has not happened. So this, and they have tested it to be highly, highly accurate. And then there are family planning methods for men. If you're going to go back to family planning and we're looking at how do we widen that base so that Dr. Mehtab again talked about this galloping population that we have in Pakistan. How can we make sure that the other 50% of the population is also being responsible about family planning, and how do they have agency over family planning also? And this is one way of doing it. So these solutions are going to be available hopefully by 2025 to 2027 and should be readily available to everyone. Okay, so now I'm coming to agriculture. We've talked about malnutrition, we've talked about the changing face of Pakistan, really, because the land is reducing. So that is available for agriculture. Because of the growing population, because of deforestation, agriculture is not as prolific as it used to be before. So there are solutions there which can be introduced. Their wholesale adoption is dependent on an enabling environment related to prices, governmental policies, import and manufacturing rules, regulations, and tariffs. For any change to happen, policy has to be the base, the foundation of it. So we've got climate smart agriculture tools, which is remote sensing, GIS mapping, and predictive analytics for optimizing agricultural practices, conserving resources, and enhancing crop resilience to climate change. And what is remote sensing? It is that a satellite keeps on taking pictures of an agricultural field continuously, and it enables you to look at the trend of your crops and for you to understand why the crops are doing well or not doing well, right? And that is something which is available, which is being done all over the world, and we can definitely do it over here. Then there are the renewable energy technologies, solar panels, wind turbines, we all know about these, and other clean energy solutions for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and building climate resilient energy infrastructure. Disaster early warning systems, Internet of Things, sensors, satellite imagery, and predictive modeling for early detection and warning of natural disasters, enabling timely evacuation and disaster preparedness. So I think the tsunami that happened around maybe 14 years ago, 16 years ago, was the first time they realized that they need an early warning system for the tsunamis, right? When it happened in Bangkok and that belt. And since then, the damage due to tsunamis has been very, very contained. There has been damage, but because there are these early warning systems which read what the seismic waves or tremors are doing in the sea, this has led to saving many, many lives. So that can be, that is one of the things that can be done for other climatic disasters as well. I'm coming to an end. Next one. So this is something which is close to my heart, and I really want to stress on this. And this is about women's agencies, women's agency, and especially again looking at Pakistan and the population makeup that we have over here in Pakistan. These are some traditional practices which, despite very high-tech solutions being available, we already have available in Pakistan. We just have to be able to scale them up, admit that they are there, agree to do this, and it can be very effective. So one is community-based natural resource management, which involves sustainable management of natural resources such as forests, water sources, and agricultural land. Women's role in decision-making processes is critical, so their needs and vulnerabilities are addressed, and traditional knowledge can guide sustainable practices. And since they have been leading on these kind of efforts, they are the ones who know what to do. And so letting them take the lead on this is really very important. Crop diversity and seed saving, traditional practices involving cultivating a diverse range of crops suited to local conditions, encouraging the preservation of traditional seed varieties, no GMOs, and promoting agroecological farming methods can enhance resilience to climate change, reduce dependence on external inputs, and provide women with greater control over food production. It can also reduce the erosion of soil and the quality of seeds that we are using for our agriculture. Then water harvesting and management, traditional water harvesting and conservation techniques such as rainwater harvesting, terracing, and irrigation systems can help communities adapt to changing precipitation patterns and water scarcity. Women are often responsible for water collection and management, so involving them in the design and implementation of water-related initiatives is critical. Moving on. Look, the other traditional practices for climate resilience are traditional medicine and healthcare. People in villages have been using local roots, local concoctions to address a lot of the health needs. These need to be documented, they need to be verified. I think Hamdard was based on these kind of solutions at one time. But again, there is a lot of pollution now, and we have to make sure that the quality of these products is good. So this can, for the remote and underserved areas where access to modern healthcare services is limited, this can be particularly useful. Supporting traditional healers and integrating traditional medicine can improve health outcomes, particularly for women and girls who may face barriers to accessing conventional healthcare. And then women's cooperatives and collective action. Women's cooperatives and self-help groups are common in many areas, providing social support, economic opportunities, and avenues for collective action. Strengthening these organizations can enhance women's resilience to climate change by fostering solidarity, sharing resources, and advocating for their rights. And I saw this in Nepal as well when I was working over there. Women groups were so strong that they managed the finances of the village as a whole, and also their household finances. And they had a single voice with which they could talk to the administration, make sure they had all the support that they needed for their communities. So relying on women because they run their families, they are mini managers, to use those skills and bring them together is really very important. Next, please. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. I want to talk a little bit about this picture and the one that I showed in the beginning. The first one was from the floods in Sindh in 2022. And it shows how children were so affected by a climate calamity. And because of large families, people had a really difficult, challenging time to rescue their families from that situation. And this is a women's collective sitting together and working during COVID to find out what the solutions can be. So Pakistan is a very rich country culturally and traditionally, and I think we need to leverage on that for our future solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shazina, for the profound insights you have shared with us today. Your views have been truly enlightening. Moving forward, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Khalid Rashid, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Sciences at ZABIST University. Dr. Khalid Rashid is a researcher and a professional specializing in AI, computer vision, and medical imaging with over 15 years of experience in software industry. He has been serving the ZABIST University since 2015. Dr. Khalid, we welcome you on the stage to share your knowledge on AI and its applications in health sciences.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for giving me such opportunity to talk here. Thank you, Ma'am Shazina. Ma'am already discussed lots of things that I would like to discuss. So I will focus not on describing or definition part. I will move on the applications or some case studies that I have developed in my experiences or professional life. So the topic is AI and its application in health sciences. So these are some component and subset of AI: machine learning, cognitive search, robotics, virtual agents, computer vision, and deep learning. Ma'am already discussed lots of about these things. So just focus on machine learning. We already knows after the ChatGPT arrived, we nowadays everyone knows about what the AI and machine learning is actually working on. So not only in the computer science field, every field is actually facilitated by the AI. So how health is facilitating with the help of AI. So let's come to the AI in medical imaging. I completed my PhD in medical imaging, and my research is based on the medical imaging. So I will share with you how my research is and what I achieve in my PhD. So in medical imaging, we use AI for diagnosis of assistance. IBM Watson is one of the company that's actually working on oncology, is helping out oncologists using CT scans, imaging for segmentation, to segment like X-rays, and there are so many other images we use to segment the image. And one is disease classifications, treatment planning. So these are the areas where AI is actually using on. So let's focus on fetal biometry ultrasound. This is actually a case which I develop and design in my research with the collaboration of Aga Khan University. Let me introduce what the problem and how what we achieve in this system. So fetal biometry ultrasound tracks fetal growth during pregnancy, assessing parameters like head, diameter, abdomen, and femur. Accurate gestational age estimate are crucial, guiding parental care and intervention for healthy pregnancies, ensuring proper parental test and intervention. This technique support the well-being of expecting mothers and childbirth. Manual fetal biometry ultrasound, almost everywhere in the world, this is a manual work. Sonographers and expert doctors actually manually taking this examination. And how this examination is crucial for doctors and for the mother. Actually, how its examination is going on, patient, doctor, in one head, doctor, they have a probe, and the second head is actually on the ultrasound machine, and continuously moving of face, sometime looking into the patient and sometime looking into the machine. And these movement actually created sometime muscle injuries for the doctors and irritating the patient, because patient want to know how my baby is. So it taking 10 to 15 minutes, and these 10 to 15 minutes are such a stress creating for the mothers. And assuming that one patient examination required 15 minutes, and in our Pakistan, it's a normal practice, one doctor treat one in a day like 30 to 40 patients. So if one examination required 15 minutes, so how much time it requires? Like 8 to 10 hours continuously sitting in front of the patients. So how much difficult for doctors, especially for sonographers. So these are actually very much problematic that needs to be tackled with the AI. So manual fetal biometry, what are the challenges facing by the sonographers? Noisy images, that requires too much time to measurement, because a perfect image will create a perfect measurement. If not a perfect image, then again measurement definitely will be problem. Second is time-consuming process, dependency on expert sonographer, especially for remote areas where we don't have experts. Not even for the remote areas, urban areas where we have expert sonographer, but because of the time, it's again a crucial task. Risk of muscle injury for examiner, and definitely safety and feel good for the mothers. So after these challenges, we design and develop a system that is called an automated fetal biometry system that solve all these issues, a completed system, automated system that not only take the image, taking image automatically, measurement automatically, everything automatically, save the record on the system, and next time when the patient comes, it will again show you previous measurement and the current measurement and comparison with the doctor. So the system that actually happened in 10 to 15 minutes, now after this system, a measurement will only be in some seconds. Like if we say 1 minute, 2 minutes, it's a big achievement. So let me, utilizing advanced AI and ML computer vision algorithms, AFBS accurately estimate gestational age by extracting key biometric parameters such as biparital diameter, head circumferences, and femur. So these are standard that required parameters, standard parameters that required for the gestational age calculation. AFBS can estimate gestational age with the clinically acceptable plus minus 1 week of observed gestational age with an accuracy of 96%. It's a very success accuracy for 96%, especially in the medical sciences. That accuracy not claimable by me. I am not only the one who is claiming. Actually, this all the research is actually done on Aga Khan University Hospital with the collaboration of the expert sonographers and the doctors. Okay, so. Collaboration study with the Aga Khan University Hospital Gynecology Department and conducted by me under the supervision of Dr. Nuruddin. He is a head of gynecology, and the Dr. Aisha, expert gynecologist. Methodology we tested our system around 1,000 ultrasound videos, and we achieved the 96% accuracy. We covered in second and third trimester. Tolerance level was plus minus 1 week. It's an gestational age calculating using biometric parameter. Key findings: achieve plus minus 1 week tolerance level in gestational age, effective utilization of biometric parameters, and practical application and validation of AFBS methodology. These are the results. And automated fetal biometry system, these are the key benefits: reduce scan times, improve measurement accuracy, reduce dependency on sonographer expertise, and eliminating of the risk of muscle injury for examiners, ensuring safety and comfort for mothers, seamless integration. We don't require to replace existing hardware. We don't require to ask someone to buy a new ultrasound machine. Every existing ultrasound machine can be facilitated with the system. Just to plug in a laptop, plug and play, and everything will be automated. Increase productivity and reduce labor cost. So these are the achievements. For now, a paper has been published and patent has been filed. World on automating fetal biometry. I'm not the only one who is working on this. There are so many research and development centers who are working on this. One of them is Philips. Philips is one company that actually designing and developing ultrasound machines. Philips company designed a solution, a mobile-based solution where we just require to buy a probe, plug in with the mobile, and everything will be appear in your mobile. So they say point of care system. It's not an automated system, just a point of care system. Okay. So the second is funding from Bill and Melinda Gates, one of the very common in our era. They have invested 15.4 million USD in the similar research I did in my PhD. But for now, they just achieved some of the part, and they are still working on this. In the next phase, what they are saying, they will asking for 44.6 million USD to completing the research. Here are some of my other research, video surveillances that we use, especially in the healthcare systems, healthcare hospitals, where we can identify patients, not need to get patient IDs and so many files. Patient will automatically be identified with the cameras by face recognition system, and everything will be on the computer of the doctors. Intrusion detection, video encryption, and automated blood cell segmentation for medical imaging. These are the techniques which actually I am working on the cancer cell detection. Similar technique can be used. Weed detection and quantity measurement worldwide. This project, especially for the World Health Organization, WHO, what we are proposing in this, using the satellite images, we actually collect all the images of all the world and detect the weed crop, where and how a crop is actually developing in which areas of the world. And then with the help of people counting statistics, we will give some solutions where the wheat is required and where we have excess wheat. And UAVs for humanity. We all aware about the drones. We use drones for the humanity. Here is one of the example we use for. Currently, many countries like Germany are working in this novel implementation with the help of UN and other pharmaceutical companies. I has been a key consulting member in developing the awareness module of drones. Mostly the African regions, Malawi, and remote villages of Kenya are really in desperate need of this technology, and drones have been helping the medical personnel in saving lives. These drones are especially used in last time when there is a disaster in Kenya, Turkey. So these drones especially were used. Okay, and it's my last slide. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid, for such an informative presentation. Concluding our first session of the event, we now transit to the second session, which entails a panel discussion by the leading public health experts. We eagerly anticipate their insightful perspectives on strategizing population growth challenges, innovations, and technology in the era of climate change. The session will be moderated by our dedicated Program Manager, Department of Public Health, Dr. Nida Shoaib. Dear Dr. Nida, please join us on the stage to welcome our prestigious panelist. We need to take a break. Okay. So we will be taking a 5 minutes break so that we can just settle down the chairs on the stage. And then we will have a formal introduction of our panelist. Thank you.
Students, please remain seated. We're just setting the stage. I know you all need break, but we'll try to wrap it up for 50 minutes, 1 hour, let's say. Okay? Thank you.
of 35 years in teaching, training services, and research. Followed by, we have Mr. Azim Khwaja with us, who is a public health specialist at UNICEF. Mr. Azim Khwaja has worked in the field of prevention and primary healthcare programs for the last decade. He started his career at Aga Khan Health Services back as a senior field health officer and looked after 21 MNCH centers all around the province. He is currently working with UN organizations as a specialist deputy team lead PEI program in the Karachi office. We welcome you, sir. Lastly, we have with us the Provisional Coordinator Sindh, DAF Park Palladium, Mr. Umair Aslam. Mr. Umair Aslam is a dynamic public health professional with a decade of experience in Pakistan's family planning and reproductive health sector. He excels in program design, implementation, capacity building, grant writing, financial management, and collaborating with both the public and private partners. A very warm welcome to all of you. Now I respectively pass the floor to Dr. Nida Shoaib to commence the opening of the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha, for your warm welcome. Today, students, we are very much privileged to have such an esteemed panelist with us. And as we look forward, 21st century is the era of technology, AI. That's why as a health and public health expert, I really wanted and I foresee that we need to enhance our knowledge why we can integrate and how we can integrate artificial intelligence with healthcare. So the need of the time is population growth, 8 billion, right? We are looking at a big number and we all are struggling how to get a hold of this population growth. So the dynamics is that maybe an artificial intelligence driven approach, maybe technology or new innovative strategies can be chipped in, and where we can think about how to strengthen our health systems. So moving forward, as you have gained enough knowledge from Ms. Shazina, and I'm pleased to understand that how new integrated mechanism and tools are coming in place, I would like her to highlight further from her personal experience where a family planning and population growth can we can actually hold it, हम उसकी इस problem को एक challenge ना लें बल्कि we can understand it and move forward. So is there practical approach currently in our health systems? Yes, please.
You know, the way I want to start this is, if we knew, we wouldn't be where we are today. So that is one of the things, right? We have had one of the oldest family planning programs in the region. I have been reading about other countries, even like countries like Singapore, who use Pakistan's example of family planning to start their own family planning programs. And as Dr. Mehtab showed you, these countries are now in the negative. Their fertility rate is so low that their population growth has gone to negative, right? The way these countries have succeeded mostly, and I'll exclude probably Bangladesh from it, is by making sure that the policy and the provision of family planning methods and information is available side by side, right? Policy plays a huge role in making anything effective in a country. I'll go back again to Singapore. Singapore was, after the war, the World War, population was growing at a very, very high rate. And so they changed their policies, and they disincentivized their bigger families. So they had exactly the same kind of slogan as we did, "Do bacche hi acche." उन्होंने उसको इंग्लिश में क्या हुआ था? 2 are better, right? 2 children are better. And they made sure that the more children you had, the more difficult economically it became for you to take care of them. And that, of course, impacted your quality of life or the quality of life of that family. And 15 years down the line, their fertility rates had reduced by more than half. And if you look at all or many of the developed countries, you will see that they rely on short-term methods. And I know this is not going to be something which is going to be accepted very easily by professionals. But if you analyze the uptake of methods, the short-term methods are taken up more easily. They're easily available. They can be used according to need. You don't need to go to a provider. So those are the methods that people are normally taking, and these are not condoms. So women are still taking the lead, but it is on emergency contraception, on oral contraceptives, on injectables. And so when we talk about technology and innovation, our technology and innovation is not so much to be focused on the product itself. Yeah. It is on making people understand and getting the message across. I think that is where we are failing. We have the same methods, we have the same highest quality of products available in Pakistan for anything. But the only thing is that the message on family planning, on the reasons why population needs to be controlled or curtailed, that has not effectively gone down. And which is why I gave you options for education as well. One of the basic reasons why this is not going ahead is because of lack of education. Without understanding what the negative impact are to you as a family, you are never going to change your habits and your way of living. So technology plays a huge role. There will be new family planning products which have fewer side effects, where more people can use them. Men can also use methods. They don't have to go for sterilization. Of course, psychologically, that is a huge step to take for a man or a woman. So what are other reversible methods that you can take which are easily accessible? That is all there. How can you yourself make a decision on which family planning method to take? So there are determinants, there are small gadgets which you can use to be able to judge which method is more suitable for you. Looking at your age, looking at your health outcomes, looking at how many children you have, etc. You can actually assess that. This is what we need to do. We need to allow people to take control of the family planning decisions, make it easier for them to access it, and also bring in all the new technology that is coming in for family planning. But the basic thing is to get the information, the awareness. PDHS, so Dr. Taleb will talk about it. Awareness is at over 95% of family planning. But there is a reason why there is no uptake, right? So that is my, response to that.
Thank you so much.
A bit passionate?
Yes, thank you so much. So, taking this way forward, that we need to understand that our policymakers or government, are they prioritizing this whole dilemma of population growth? So we have Asif Saab on board, and he is an expert from social policy and development. I would like to, we would like Asif Saab to highlight how social policies, are they supporting the innovation and new technology, how we can integrate these strategies into our current existing health system. So please, Asif Saab, over to you.
Thank you for your thought-provoking presentation and no remarks. Just on a lighter note, you talked about बच्चे दो ही अच्छे, तो हमने उसको थोड़ा इस तरह से ले लिया है कि दो बच्चे अच्छे हैं तो 8-10 पैदा करेंगे तो उनमें से 2 निकलेंगे. So coming back to the government policies that can support innovative ideas and innovations. So my take is that the government policy should be there to facilitate and to create enabling environment for the development of technologies. It's not there to come and do the things, but to create enabling environments for the people, for the private sector, for the non-government sector, for other sectors, so that these things can be supported. For example, government, 4 or 5 things I would like to say that what government can do. For example, number 1, they can provide incentives for research and development. For, for example, a university or any other private firm, if they want to invest in research and development, so one thing is that they might be given tax credits. Other thing is that, for example, young people and other universities or other firms, if they are short of funds, so and they want to invest in research and development and in technology, so they can be provided soft loans. Like, for example, currently what we have, you all know that the inflation is high, and that's why the interest rates are very high. It's more than, it's almost 25%. So which is very unsustainable if someone wants to take loan and do something research and development. So it's very, very difficult. It's almost impossible to invest. So that's why the government should come forward and they can provide soft loans as they have been providing in to youngsters in employment or something like that. The second thing, for example, when we talk about youngsters, so when there are some startups, some entrepreneurships, the government can also give them not only the soft loans, but also tax breaks. For example, if you are a new entrepreneur and you want to establish your business, which is related to the technological development, then what government should do, they can give you 2-3 years tax exemption, for example, so that they can, जिसे आप कहते हैं पाँव पे खड़ा हो जाए, right? So other thing is creating regulatory frameworks, which is very important. Just to give you one example, when people start new businesses or they invest their money and their time in innovations, so the patent registration is very important, and this is very important for students as well when they do some what they call FIV, the final year P, FIP, final year FIP. So if they can come with a new idea, and sometimes what I have heard, I have discussed with many students which are working on different technologies, that they don't want to talk about their innovation so that it can be stolen. Because there is no regulation, or the regulation is not confidentiality. So there are some instances people have, just from the anecdotal evidence, that people were saying that our idea was stolen by our, for example, our mentor. So this is because there are not enough legislation.
It gets hijacked.
Yeah, it's been hijacked.
Stolen, I believe, is a small word. You do all the work and then it gets hijacked in the end.
So that means there has to be some legislative framework that can protect the ideas, not only the products. One is like you have a finished product and you can get the patent. One is, there are some, there are many examples in the world that there are legislations about getting registered your ideas first, so that the ideas cannot be hijacked. And then of course, it goes without saying that we need to invest in education and training, and also in public-private partnerships, which is very important, because as I said, the government are not there to deliver for service delivery, but their policies should be to facilitate. So public-private partnership is another way of effective service delivery, and I think we all know that in Sindh, particularly in health system, we have this public-private partnerships example, which have been very successful. I don't need to repeat that. So that's a bit about the innovation and investments.
Very interesting, especially for our student body, because they have good ideas and innovative ideas where they carry the fear that who will support them during the whole process of entrepreneurship, especially healthcare workers, या हम जितने भी public health या doctors हैं, कुछ हमारे पास capacity to bring in new thing and new businesses लिमिटेड होती है. ये एक्सपर्टीज़ हमारी मैनेजमेंट साइंसेज में ज़्यादा होती है, बट वी नीड टू ब्रिंग इन आवर ओन इनोवेटिव आइडियाज़ एंड वी नीड टू थिंक फॉरवर्ड. सो आसिफ साहब, आप ही की बात को आगे अगर लेके जाते हैं, मैडम सीमा, मैं आपको, एज यू आर एन एक्सपर्ट फ्रॉम ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट एंड हेल्थ केयर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, आई कैरी अ फियर दैट जितना हम AI को अपने अंदर लेके आ रहे हैं, इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं, व्हाट अबाउट द एम्प्लॉयमेंट? इतनी वल्नरेबल इकोनॉमिक सिचुएशन है इस वक्त, वेयर अगेन जब कंप्यूटर्स आए थे तभी वी हैड द फेयर कि 10 लोगों का काम 2 लोग करेंगे. सो आर वी फेयरिंग द सेम थिंग ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की? कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि नीड ही ख़त्म हो जाए, हर चीज़ AI करेगी? और जो सबसे ज़्यादा आई फेस द चैलेंज कि जो ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग और प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग कैपेसिटी हमारे होनी चाहिए स्टूडेंट्स की, वो भी शायद मुझे लगता है AI विल टेक दैट ओवर. सो प्लीज़ ओवर टू यू मैडम.
Thank you, Rida, for giving me this opportunity. Nida, can I ask you one question?
Yes, please.
When we are sitting over here,
Yes.
we are using AI also.
Definitely.
But while we are talking to each other, we are using the smiles,
Yeah.
the gestures, the attributes,
The human effect.
and human effect. Can that be taken by AI?
Not at all.
So that's the answer. You know, soft skills and hard skills both contribute to your personality and your wholesome effect. AI can do many things. It is just there to help you. We as human are fearful for everything. हमें हर चीज़ से डर लगता है. हम जो भी नई चीज़ देखते हैं तो चेंज की तरफ जाने से पहले वी आर थिंकिंग अबाउट इट कि कैन वी रियली डू इट, और somebody else is going to harbor it before us, and then perhaps he or she is going to do it better, और उस चीज़ में हम पीछे रह जाते हैं. We never think कि it's a unique thing that we all can do it, and we all can help each other on we have an opportunity of doing it better. Look, COVID को अगर हम लें, COVID के era को कि as an era where we were stuck, but AI helped us. You see, it gave us new boundaries. Now home-based work, it came from that era, and people are earning much better due to this home-based system. ठीक है, and many of the housewives, they have developed this thing. So I don't think we should be afraid. It's just where what to apply, and that is really what we need.
Very nice. Well spoken. So हो गया आप लोग का, हो गया. हम आगे
नंबर
क्वेश्चन
देना
चले. अगर आप लोगों ने कर लियो, थैंक यू. सो लवली, शी इज़ अ लवली टीचर और वी ऑलवेज अप्रिशिएट हर. सो हमें, मुझे पता है कि एग्जाम्स आर अराउंड द कॉर्नर्स. आई कैन वेरी वेल अंडरस्टैंड. आई एम अ मॉडरेटर बट एज वेल एज अ प्रोग्राम मैनेजर. So moving forward, I would like that we can take some view from Dr. Umair. We were having a very short discussion on youth and youth-friendly approach, because population growth a very important element कि youth are the champions. अगर हम उनको उस time में we just try to fish them out और उनको हम hold कर लें, तो maybe ये जो population growth का एक बहुत बड़ा एक problem बन चुका है. Maybe to a certain extent we can get a hold on it. So I would like Dr. Umair to share his experience in building all these youth-friendly clinics in respect to climate change as well, and where we can bring in AI to improve it.
Thank you, Dr. Nida. First of all, thank you for having me, and congratulations, ZABFM, for organizing this such wonderful event. I would first, before we discuss on youth-friendly clinics, I would just like to ponder on vocabulary, because in our family planning, reproductive health and sexual health, we used to call these special places not the clinic but the spaces. We used to call it youth-friendly spaces. I think the challenges which our youth is facing, it's enormous, which is we haven't seen before. If you see the statistics of Pakistan in youth, especially criteria, which is of 15 to 29, we are 60% of the Pakistan, which you could say 60 million people, 6 crore log, we are just between the age of 15 to 29. It's such a big number. And if you see the penetration of mobile phones in our country, which is 76% is the penetration. And if you could see the internet access to these young people, which is about more than 30% plus, and which is increasing with the passage of time, the way the internet is becoming more cheap and cheap packages are coming. So we are having more accessibility day by day, day by day. So along with that, these are all the statistics which is we are seeing around us, how many we are. We are also seeing some health related challenges, especially we in 2015, 16, 17, we implemented a project in peri-urban areas of Karachi, Kurangi, Landi and Qasim town, where we sort of fail in doing some activities, but we could not say fail, but a lesson learned, which is we have seen there. We went to the community to engage the young people between 15 to 24 years of age, to make them more responsible, to make them aware, to make them well off about the family planning, reproductive health and menstrual hygiene, these kind of things. We engaged community health workers from the local community. We asked them to go to the field and meet with the communities in the household. And we adopted a special approach, which was of mother-daughter counseling. Through that, we identified few cases in the community where young girls were looking for the services, say for menstrual hygiene, and some abuse which were happening in their family and extended family as well. So we referred them to the normal traditional clinics which we had in community, which was the private and the public as well. We were so much surprised when we observed that when we were sending those referral clients, young people, to those clinics, they were in another challenge, because providers were not receptive, they were very judgmental, and there is another challenge come to us, that should we deal first with the referral cases or the community who is already struggling, or should we counsel, engage or train the healthcare provider? So we of course engaged through JPIGO and other partners, engaged our healthcare providers and trained them how to deal with the young people and how to make sure that their information make sure its privacy is maintained and confidentiality is maintained, comprehensive services are provided. But we faced a lot of challenge in those areas. Then we established at Kurangi 5, main Kurangi 5, we established a youth-friendly space there, where we engaged 15 to 24 years of young people. We made that environment such a friendly, very energetic, enthusiastic and colorful, and we installed there some video games and physical games so the young people can come and discuss and engage with each other. And then from there we started identifying these such type of cases, and then we engaged there some counselors who were well trained on engaging with young people. So these were the services which is we done at the ground level. After that, we also established a web-based application. You guys know there is a browser, but there is a web-based application module through which we can get the information. That we done with the support of MSS and Ahang as well. Dr. Sadia Ehsanpal was the technical reviewer of that. We established that application and sent it across to the Pakistan for youth to engage and learn from that. Unfortunately, we noticed that this was the first time that we developed an app which has a proper referral system. It's not only that you can learn the information or engage with it and just go and you don't know where to go. And there is a telehealth service where you have to speak with some agent, and you are again thinking and rethinking, should I talk to this lady or the boy or not? Should I speak to him that how unfortunately my cousin is abusing me? So these type of situations which is we seen there, and we also established a referral mechanism to our healthcare clinic referrals, but that didn't also unfortunately work. I think this is the time of AI. We again and again repeating this name. Can just to get the attention of audience, if you guys are really with us, can anybody stand up and tell us what is the artificial intelligence? What the hell is this? Can anybody? There is something on the poster who is looking towards the tree. On the poster, it seems like a devil looking towards the tree. Can anybody tell what is artificial intelligence?
Yes, Fatma. Fatma, need a mic? Yes.
We maybe don't need any IT person to tell this.
No,
I'm not an IT person.
Yes, she
No, she needs a mic.
She needs a mic, yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay, fine. Very good. I think in very simple words, we can say, like Dr. Saiba has just narrated, we could call it a new digital species. That's all. This is something which is just like MS Excel. We were scared of that. MS Excel is going to capture our attention. We won't be able to remember the formulas. Now everything is now happening automatically. So fasten your belts. I slightly disagree with the Dr. Saiba that it is not going to replace the human. It is going to replace human in a way. It is going. Initially, we said the artificial intelligence is not going to be creative. Now it's become creative. Many things which is going to happen, which we probably don't know at this stage. So that's all from my side. I think we have to have a virtual assistants and chatbots for our young people. एक चीज़ आपके लिए समझना बहुत आसान है, मुश्किल है जो हम नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं, वो ये है कि artificial intelligence, it's easy to say that there is an open AI company who has designed and established and running a chat GPT, but it's such a tough and tedious job to do. Say for instance, we want to build a chatbot or the virtual assistants for family planning services or menstrual hygiene services for young people aged between 50 to 24 years of age. What we have to do is, the process is, अब आपको जाना है Wikipedia पे, Quora पे, all internet places, you have to download all single word mentioned there. There are millions of trillions of files, information and knowledge there. You have to download it, everything. Again, there are permissions. You have to get permission, US government permission, Google permission. There are a number of list of permission. You have to download everything. Once you have download, आपको hundreds of GB का data चाहिए होगा उसको download करने के बाद. Then there you have to design an algorithm which will design a predictive model through which you will be able to predict if I am having a pain in my stomach, if I am having a pain in my right arm, what can be the disease for this. Say for instance, high risk pregnancies. You will have to just give the vital signs. It will give you the situation that your pregnancy is safe or not. So for that, अब वो millions of जो GB का जो data है, उसके ऊपर एक एलोग्रिथम बनेगा. वो एलोग्रिथम क्या करेगा कि repeatedly for months if not years, for months it will be repeating the information again and again and again and again and again, and it will be giving you the result, and you will be there as a human assessing it, is it right or not, it is right or not. You will be giving them the information back. Technically saying, like for 7 months, 8 months, 10 months, just for a single topic, you will have to train a machine to predict what is coming next. Okay? So if, like we used to write, what is we used to write in Word, it will automatically assigns you name. Probably you want to write this. So this is what the artificial intelligence. You probably have seen Google Translator, which comes in 2006, and you probably know Siri. She was there since 2012, but nowadays time is changing. It's all happening through the artificial intelligence. Any questions? I will happy to answer. Sorry for taking too much time on this.
Thank you so much, Dr. May. Lastly, I'm just going to take this way forward that I do agree that we need artificial intelligence, and in a lot of places where we can strengthen our systems, the projects there will be driven by artificial intelligence. So we have Dr. Azim on board, and he has an immense experience in public sector, health sector specifically. So we have been working with him on projects specifically polio eradication, but just to get an idea what are the key challenges if we bring in AI into our health systems, and every system is working because of the technology. So what are the challenges if we draw a comparison between our urban areas and rural areas? At a grassroots level, you have seen how Wi-Fi internet works. So please, over to you. Why don't you highlight that?
Thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity, and congratulations, ZABIST. I am a bit positive in the way, optimistic in the way that we are working on the implementation side of the projects, and we have found many opportunities. By the way, I am talking with the students that many of the projects we have seen that we are living somewhere in the past. If we talk with any of the problem, we are talking that we have this much load. For example, from immunization, we have this much load. For family planning, we have this much load. We are not talking about present. We are not talking about how many newborns we are giving daily and what is the procedure to take them forward now. So for youngsters and students, actually, AI is not to actually for copy, but we need innovative solutions. What we need, innovative solutions. What is the definition of innovation? Actually, innovation is simply a creative destruction. Creative destruction, like you don't find telephone anywhere after the mobile, because this innovation has destroyed the existing tool. What is missing in Pakistan actually, that for innovative solutions, we don't have a space and we don't have creative minds. Like students, for example, in the thesis time, I am like students like you are sitting here. What we search for that existing thesis, if relevant with my topic, I am in search of that. But with our mind, we are not searching for the solution-based strategy. So I am coming back to the question that what is the difference between rural and urban areas? Rural areas have multiple opportunities that urban area don't have. Like we don't have a problem with space, we are solarization and adding to the technology, and we have a lot of challenges. Coming from local BHU level, you don't find electricity, despite they are in rural, there's no problem in space, but we are unable to formalize it, and we are unable to make it the cold chain on solar, we are unable to place people for sustainable solutions. Similarly, when we are talking about the population, let me add on one thing. For population, sir has mentioned very well, but I am adding to it that our message, like we are technical peoples. Technical people's mind matters actually. What we are giving the message, we are giving the message at the TV. We are writing a message on the TV, despite knowing that our problematic population is illiterate. And same means अगर मैं इसको सादा ज़बान में कहूँ कि हमें जो पढ़े लिखे बच्चे ज़्यादा चाहिए थे, जो पढ़ा लिखा तबका पैदा कर सकता था, हमने उनको तो मैसेज दे दिया कि 2 बच्चे अच्छे, जिनका नहीं चाहिए था उनके अभी भी 10 बच्चे. तो मतलब वी हैव कम अनदर सेट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स. अच्छा, तीसरी जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी की आप बात कर रहे हैं, सर ने बहुत अच्छे से समझाया AI, हमें उतना मैच्योर भी होना चाहिए. हम टेक्नोलॉजी से डेवलपमेंट को तेज तो कर सकते हैं, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है, लेकिन उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस के लिए भी हमें रेडी होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल मोबाइल. अब मोबाइल पूरी जदीद दुनिया में इस्तेमाल होता है, लेकिन एक होता है टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज़ ایک ہوتا ہے مس یوز, ایک ہوتا ہے ابیوز, اینڈ وی آر جسٹ ابیوزنگ اٹ. ہماری ساری ینگ جنریشن کا آپ 90% اگر ٹائم جو ورکنگ ٹائم کیلکولیٹ کریں اور ان کا اسکرین ٹائم آپ اسیس کریں, آن ایوریج اف دے آر اسپینڈنگ 4 hours اینڈ مور آن موبائل, وی ڈونٹ نو واٹ دے آر ڈوئنگ سو, اینڈ دیٹ آلسو کلز کریٹیوٹی. لاسٹلی سالوشن بیسڈ اسٹریٹجی پہ میں بڑا آپٹیمسٹک ایک اوپینین دینا چاہتا ہوں, اور جو کہ پبلک ہیلتھ, گروئنگ پبلک ہیلتھ پروفیشنلس کے لیے ہے, کہ لوکل پرابلمس ہیو آلویز لوکل سلیوشن. پوری دنیا میں لوکل پرابلمس کے لوکل سلیوشنز ہیں. ہم جو سلیوشن بنا کے ٹاپ ڈاؤن اسٹریٹجی سے جاتے ہیں یہ ہمیشہ فیل ہوتی ہے. But what we need a bottom-up approach. We need to sit within the community, design a solution along with the community, and that is very painful. And that is really painful. اس کے لیے آپ کو courage چاہیے, اس کے لیے آپ کو ٹائم چاہیے, اس کے لیے آپ کی 100% ڈیڈیکیشن چاہیے. اور اس سارے مدعے میں رورل ہیلتھ کے اندر ہمارے پاس تمام چیزیں, میں آپ کو ایک اور ایگزامپل بھی دینا چاہوں گا کیونکہ جو سمجھنے کے لیے نا ایگزامپلس بڑا کام کرتے ہیں. ہمارے پاس ایک افریقن نیشنل آیا. When he visited all around Sindh with us in the polio program, we used to go in every corner of any city. He was surprised with two things: the health structure we have in health, and the agriculture system, irrigation system, by the way. Irrigation system and the health structure. BHU, we have a Somalis unit dispensary, BHU, RHC, THQ, DHQ. Then we have a centralized system. لیکن اگر مٹھی کا بچہ بیمار ہوتا ہے اور وہ جنا پہنچتا ہے تو یہ ایگزسٹنگ ہیلتھ سسٹم کی فنکشننگ کا پرابلم. And the irrigation system, the strongest irrigation system we do have, اب اس کے ڈسٹریبیوشن پہ ہم کیا کلٹیویٹ کر سکتے ہیں, ہم کیا اپرچونٹی گین کر سکتے ہیں. ہم اولڈ کراپس, سارا اولڈ اور پاسٹ میں دبے ہوئے ہیں. ہمیں بہت نئے لوگوں کی, نئے دماغوں کی, انوویشنز کی ضرورت ہے. میں اپنے اوپینین میں یہ سمجھتا ہوں کہ بہت سارے نئے لوگ جو پبلک ہیلتھ میں آ رہے ہیں, یہ بہت ہی ایمٹی ورجن فیلڈ ہے. اس کو ایکسپلور کرو اور لوکل سولوشنز کو لوکل پرابلمس کو لوکل سولوشن دینے کی ضرورت. دیٹس اٹ فرام مائی سائڈ. تھینک یو.
Well said. So a lot can be discussed, but now I would like to give forum to my students, and as we are making them the center for this whole discussion, I want you to come up with good questions with our experts who are here, and they have dedicated their time to actually open your mindset کہ ایک typical monotonous pathway نہیں follow کرنا, but we need to be smart, we need to reduce, and we need to again make everything resilient in the face of climate as well as population growth. جہاں population بڑھ رہی ہے وہاں پہ extreme weathers بھی آ رہے ہیں. So they all are hand in hand. So students, I really want you to please come up with good questions, ورنہ میں آپ لوگوں سے سوال کروں گی. I have a lot of questions. Yes, please. Nisha, mics لے لیں please. ایک مجھے دے دیں first, please. Thank you. Students, please introduce yourself before you ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Say you're audible.
Okay, mera naam, I am Rafiq Channa, and I am working as a manager research at the Institute for Global Health and Development at Aga Khan University. So, and I am the student of public health at ZABIST. So, before this session, we are hearing the nice presentation by our population and demographic specialist. So, the presentation was related to the heat wave and climate change and related subjects. So I just want to ask that how can we be the better health system or health system to handle the such illness that we are facing in current situation.
And you, please rephrase again. You want extreme weathers we are facing that?
Yes. So in our rural areas, our public health system is overburdened with such illnesses, especially the children who are admitted in the hospital. There are the various challenges like the shortage of medicines, equipment, the human resource, and other facilities. So how can we can mitigate and handle these challenges?
Yes. Actually, in the rural health centers, what we have seen in Sindh province in particularly, because it is a bit different from the Punjab because of little change, just a little change. In rural health centers, primarily, what we are dealing with mother and child care services, majority, and outpatient services. We are talking about BHU, RHC, government dispensary and everything. In Punjab, what they have done, simply because they have so much resource, and we have to as well, that way they have made it from 8 to 8 p.m. Simply. And make all facilities solarized. You will find every GD solarized, and they have a service from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. By simply this, you are addressing a huge burden, and you are reducing a huge burden from tertiary care as well.
Yes, agreed.
And when you have a viable government system, then private has to provide a quality care, because otherwise nobody wants to go there. So this is something that we need to. But locally for health system, like a specific blocks you are talking about, I am telling you service delivery only. Towards HR, we have a huge HR. Anyone from government can tell you even more than me, because we have too many partners in the primary health care. PPHI is leading primary health care, BHUs and THQs. Government dispensaries are left with government. Still they have thousands of government employees, but you will surprised to know that there's nobody physically.
We have a lot of students from public side and they are serving.
Actually, solutions are simple, but to adopt it need a single policy. As sir mentioned earlier, that when your policy is straightforward, one-liner policy, two-liner policy, if there are no ifs and buts in the policy, because it's a government job is a priority and everybody need to perform it. For example, I am deployed in a center. I have 8 hours duty, and I have to conduct 8 hours duty by any law. There's no ifs and buts, but I have 2 leaves per month. This is a simple system, but we are willing to get government job, just not to do the job. So this is a bitter truth, but we need to address it as a policy. Students, you need to discuss it on the forums. And we used to, actually. Yes. And we are the one, actually, Nida can quote me, yes, who have engaged a huge government existing network in the system.
Agreed completely.
Those who were not available before.
So, yes, please, madam.
Primary health care, BHUs, and all the dispensaries, they have a huge responsibility, and they are the filter clinics also, as to. Where is the problem? Problem is that when we made one BHU, it comes into beginning and वो फिर रहता ही रहता है. The whole story was that you needed to sustainable approach आपने उसको देनी थी community को आपने ये करना था कि इतना enforce कर देना था, इतना empower कर देना था कि वो चलाते रहें आपके जाने के बाद भी वो BHU. because the concept of BHU was that those people, LHV, DICE, they should be so much trained that they can take over the those small things जो कि आपके doctors पे burden ना बने. It's not only the facility burden, it's also the burden on the healthcare provider. तो healthcare provider जो job कर सकता है वो job करके वो आगे pass on कर दे. तो sustainability was that कि आप community को पूरे build करें. आपने sustainability भी कहीं बात नहीं की और BHUs ऐसे ही चलते रहे. That is the problem.
I'll disagree with you a little bit. If you look at other countries which are in the region, you will see that the government does take on the responsibility of providing health, right? It is. Universal health care is basically the responsibility of the government. I used to work in Nepal. I was representing international NGO, which was working in the private sector. And the government of Nepal did not want to give us any space at all because they said, it's not for you to do this. This is our responsibility. We will provide health to our people, right? That is our mandate. Now, if I have not misunderstood you, when we are talking about BHUs and we are talking about the whole health system, we need to make sure, and I agree with you, sir, that we need to make sure that the people who are there as health providers are doing their duty, that they are qualified, that they are getting the experience. And so the current burden on tertiary care is not as much as it is right now. I was CEO for Integrated Emergency and Health Services and Aman Foundation, and we were running these emergency ambulances, 1122, before that Aman ambulances. And when we got pressure from somebody from Hyderabad or Sakkar or whatever, we had to take the patient from there to Jinnah Hospital or civil hospital for an earache. Kaan mein dard hai, and they want to come to Karachi for that. Yes. There has to be facilities available in Sakkar, in Hyderabad, wherever, for these kind of ailments, right? So I think it is more about us as people, and we should not point fingers at anyone particularly. We as people, we need to look as Pakistanis. Again, I'm sorry, but we need to look at ourselves and just check how loyal, how true are you being to what you're supposed to be doing, your job, or being a student, or being a person in the society, being a husband, a wife, a child, a brother, a sister, whatever. Are you doing, and most of these societies where you see an improved family planning, I tell you, when you look at the quality of the people, it's a better quality of people as well. Sorry.
So we'll take one more question. Okay, so we have a lot of questions. Let's take more questions.
मैम यूरोप में रिसेंटली इशू चल रहा है कि उनके यहाँ जो है ना जो वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन है वो डिक्रीज़ हो रही है, ठीक है, और जो एजिंग है वो एज वाली जो पॉपुलेशन वो बहुत ज़्यादा है. जापान में रिसेंटली जो उनकी पॉपुलेशन है वो प्रीवियस ईयर से कम भी हुई है. तो आपको नहीं लगता कि ये जो स्लोगन है बच्चे दो या अच्छे, ये हमें 15 या 20 साल के बाद उसी कंडीशन में खड़ा करेगा जहाँ पर यूरोप है?
Very good question. Who would like to answer that? Very interesting. I like.
ये तो उसी सूरत में होगा जब इस पे हम अमल भी करेंगे.
जो लग नहीं रहा दूर तक.
और यूरोप को यहाँ तक पहुँचने में 30, 40, 50 साल लगे हैं.
Okay. Next question. I will take a comment or please. Fahim. Okay.
My name is Dr. Fahimuddin Sumro. I am working as Assistant Director of Monitoring and Evaluation. My name is Dr. Fahimuddin Sumro. I am working as Assistant Director of Monitoring and Evaluation, Government of Sindh, Health Department especially. I am also a final year student of MSPH. The thing is that right now, resources, funding, financing is not a big issue. The big issue is that how we prioritize the thing. Our policies are being made in the 5-star hotels, and public health specialists are not the part of that policies. Bureaucrats are making the policies, so how they are implementable. So I would draw your attention, kindly influx the public health specialists in every policy so that we could have a better outcome. And I will also tell you that we are health department now prioritized to monitorize and evaluate their all healthcare facilities. We started in 2022 we were working on the inputs. So Alhamdulillah, within 1 year, we were able to establish the labor rooms at the BHU levels, RST levels, from 0 to 78%. And now we are working on the service delivery and outcomes. So inshallah things will be better, but the main thing is how you prioritize the things. Our priority is not health, our priority is the military, our priority is the another thing. So make our nation to realize that priority should be the health. If priority is no health, you may make thousands of slogans, दो ही बच्चे अच्छे, हम इससे भी वर्ष में चले जाएंगे जब तक हमारी priority health नहीं होगी. Thank you very much.
ये फहीम हम इसको कमेंट ही लेंगे और यहीं इसको ख़त्म करेंगे. Let's take another question.
You should join politics rather than being a bird.
Okay, thank you. And I am Ishrat Fatma, and I am working as CGD coordinator, Gender and Development Coordinator with Indus Delta Capital. They are also working on climate change. And I am a student of final year ZABIST Public Health. My question is that we are working on coastal communities. Our project zone in coastal communities, Thatha, Keti, Bandar side. So as a public health student, I noticed many issues for vulnerable communities like women, reproductive health effects due to climate change. They have many issues regarding their reproductive health, and they have no मतलब वहाँ पे कोई फैसिलिटीज़ नहीं है क्योंकि मोस्टली जो वहाँ के विलेजेस हैं वो क्रीक्स में हैं, तो सी साइड है वहाँ पे, और एक्सेसिबिलिटी, अफोर्डेबिलिटी, पावर्टी उनमें बहुत ज़्यादा है. So how to mitigate these issues like reproductive health issues, malnutrition, and as our company and उनके लिए हम काम करते हैं, जैसे कि हम उनके लिए मेडिकल कैंप्स अरेंज कर लिए, अवेयरनेस सेशन लाइक मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन एंड मैनेजमेंट, मेल न्यूट्रिशन, मिडवाइफ्स के लिए सेशंस. इससे बढ़कर हम क्या कर सकते हैं उनके लिए, क्या पॉलिसीज़ होनी चाहिए जो उन कम्युनिटीज़, कोस्टल कम्युनिटीज़ में उन फीमेल्स के लिए होनी चाहिए, मतलब दे आर वेरी इन बैड कंडीशन. सो प्लीज़.
I just want to add something because I have worked in Keti Bandar and I was assigned there. I have worked on coastal line whole from Thatta to Badin, 32 union councils. I have seen them very closely and you are rightly said. लेकिन मैं इसमें एक बदकिस्मती कहूँगा कि दुनिया का सबसे वीरान साहिल ये देखा है मैं. मतलब साहिल दुनिया की बहुत खूबसूरत पट्टी कहलाती है, लेकिन जिस साहिल पे कुछ ना हो और मतलब आपको कुछ ना मिले, कोई सर्विसेज नाम की चीज़ ना हो, ये वीरान साहिल मैंने इस तरफ देखा है. अच्छा, क्या कर सकते हैं, मैं इस पे थोड़ा सा बात करना चाहता हूँ. व्हाट वी हैव डन, मैं आपको थोड़ा सा उससे बता सकता हूँ कि मतलब ये हल नहीं है, लेकिन इट्स अ सोर्स ऑफ सॉल्यूशंस. इन्हीं एरियाज़ में हमारे पास रूटीन इम्यूनाइजेशन करना उतना ही प्रॉब्लमेटिक है जितना आपके लिए रेगुलर हेल्थ सर्विस देना. व्हाट वी हैव डन, हमने वहाँ से लोग बड़ी जल्दी अर्बन एरियाज़ में ट्रांसफ़र होते हैं. मतलब अगर किसी का कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी लगे तो वो लगे हाथों हैदराबाद, कराची, दे प्रेफर टू गो, कि वहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं. हमें एवरेज विलेजेस के अंदर हमें 10-10, 20-20 हाउसेस ऐसे मिले जहाँ कोई नहीं रहता. हमने विलेजेस से जब बैठना शुरू किया, वो विलेज जिसमें 70 से ज़्यादा घर हैं, हमने कहा एक हाउस जो है वो आप हमें दो, जिसको हम विलेज हेल्थ हाउस डिक्लेयर करते हैं. और वो मोर देन विलिंग थे. वी स्टार्टेड अवर वैक्सीनेशन कैंपेन ओवर दियर. हमारा वो हेल्थ हाउस भी था, हम LHW के थ्रू वहीं पे उनकी हेल्थ हाइजीन और इस प्रमोशंस पे, surprising to tell you that we have got 3,200 village health houses in this 32 union council. On average 100 households per UC. But उसको सस्टेन कैसे करते. अब वैक्सीनेशन क्या है कि वैक्सीनेशन सर्विस आती है, 15 दिन में भी एक दफ़ा आप गए तो यू कैन डिलीवर यूर डोज, और जो बैकलॉग है वो आपने कवर कर लिया. ये जो सर्विसेज है इनके अंदर रेगुलरिटी चाहिए. But a solution, sustainable solution you can think around, और local लोग आपको solutions बताना शुरू कर. तो I just want to.
جسٹ اے کوئک کامنٹ کیونکہ دیر ہو رہی ہے. دیکھیں پاکستان کا جو ہیلتھ سسٹم ہے نا, اٹس اے ویلفیئر سسٹم. پھر بھی 60% پلس جو لوگ ہیں آؤٹ آف پاکٹ پیمنٹ کرتے ہیں, باقی گورنمنٹ سروسز دیتی ہیں. ہاؤ ایور ان ایریاز میں بھی گورنمنٹ کی ہی پرائم رسپانسبلٹی ہے کہ وہ سروسز دیں, لیکن ہم 100% ہر مرتبہ گورنمنٹ کو بھی اکاؤنٹیبل نہیں کر سکتے کیونکہ ریسورس کنسٹرینٹس ہیں, بجٹس ہیں, ایوری تھنگ ہے. آئی تھنک ڈاکٹر طالب ول سیکنڈ می کہ اٹس اے ٹائم آف پارٹنرشپس. ہمیں کراس سیکٹورل پارٹنرشپ کے اوپر جانا پڑے گا, ہمیں کارپوریٹ کو ٹیپ کرنا پڑے گا, ہمیں پرائیویٹ سیکٹر کو ٹیپ کرنا پڑے گا. اب ٹائم آ گیا ہے, ہمیں کرنا پڑے گا اور خود سے جا کے ان کو جگانا پڑے گا. دیکھیں پرائیویٹ سیکٹر, کارپوریٹ سیکٹر وہ لوگ ہیں جو کہ وٹ ایور یو کال ایٹ, پریویلیجڈ خواتین, غریب علاقے میں رہتی ہیں, کچھ بھی ہیں, وہ ان کی جیب میں سے پیسے نکال سکتے ہیں. کارپوریٹ والے لوگ نکال سکتے ہیں پیسے. وی ایکسیپٹیڈ دس, اور یہ اس کے ہمارے پاس پروون ریزلٹس ہیں. کچھ بھی ہو موبائل میں بیلنس ڈلوانا پڑے گا, انٹرنیٹ چلانا ہے ہم نے, بے شک ہم نے شارٹس دیکھنے. گاؤں میں بھی, رورل ایریاز میں بھی ٹک ٹاک اب چل رہا ہے, اور اگر اس کو بیسک سروسز بھی لینی ہے تو کسی جی پی کے پاس جانا پڑے گا. اگر اس کو کوئی تکلیف ہو رہی ہے, اگر اس کو فیملی پلاننگ کا میتھڈ بھی لینا ہے تو دیکھیں دس از دا ٹائم. گورنمنٹ شوڈ فیسلیٹیٹ, ٹھیک ہے, ایز اے پالیسی انیبلنگ انوائرمنٹ بنائے. پرائیویٹ سیکٹر خود سے وہاں پہ جائے گا, خود پیسے کمائے گا, خود لوگوں کو سروس دے گا. دیٹس اٹ. تھینک یو.
Thank you so much, students, for your questions. My appreciation for the esteemed panel of experts from the field making profound discussions and intellectual conversations for the future of our community. Thank you so much. Now I humbly request our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Talib Lashari, to present the concluding remarks for this profound and enlightening conversations with our distinguished panel of experts. Dr. Talib Lashari is a technical advisor at CIP Population Welfare Department, Government of Sindh. Dr. Lashari was nominated as a representative of Pakistan on the Health Advisory Committee of the Commonwealth, Geneva, and London. So, we welcome you on the stage to express your last stance on the panel discussion with your mindful sight.
چلیں جی, میں اکیلا بیٹھ جاتا ہوں یہاں. It's better to be face to face rather than ڈائس پہ آتے. جب ہم نے شروع کیا یہ سیشن تو میں اتنا آپٹمسٹک شاید نہیں تھا. اس کی وجہ یہ تھی کہ آپ بھی یہی سوچ رہے ہوں گے کہ وی ور تھنکنگ آف 3 مین میجر ٹاپکس انٹو ون, یعنی کلائمیٹ چینج, ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ اینڈ انوویشنس اینڈ پاپولیشن. یہ تینوں اتنے بڑے ٹاپک ہیں کہ ان پہ ایک ٹاپک پہ ہمیں سیپریٹلی بات کرنا یا سیپریٹ کانفرنس کی جو ہے وہ ضرورت ہوتی ہے یا تھی. بٹ آئی ایم ہیپی دیٹ by the end of this symposium, we have very rich ideas. ایسا ہے کہ نہیں ہے؟ آپ کی رائے کیا ہے؟ یعنی آپ اگر کلائمیٹ کی بات کریں تو کلائمیٹ کی بات پہ ڈاکٹر مہتاب کریم نے ہمیں بہت زیادہ انسائٹس دیں کہ کس طرح سے کلائمیٹ چینج ایوالو ہوئی ہے اوور دا تھاؤزنڈس آف ایئرس, اوور دا سینچریز, اور کس طرح سے ہم جو گلوبل وارمنگ ہے اس گلوبل وارمنگ کو 1850 میں دیکھیں تو کیا تھی, اور اس کے بعد ہم نے دیکھا ہے کہ اس میں ڈرامیٹک چینج آئی ہے. اینڈ وی نو دیٹ یونائٹڈ نیشن کا جو پینل ہے آن انٹر گورنمنٹ پینل آن کلائمیٹ چینج, اس نے ہمیں یہ بتایا کہ 1.5 سیلسیس وارمنگ جو ہے وہ دنیا میں جب ہوگی تو دے ول بی مور ڈیزاسٹرس, مور پینڈیمکس, مور فلڈنگ اینڈ مور سائیکلونس, مور ڈراؤٹس اینڈ فیمائنس ان دا ورلڈ. لیکن وہ انہوں نے تو بتایا کہ 2030 میں یہ 1.5 پہ ہم پہنچیں گے, لیکن ہم 2023 میں پہنچ گئے ہیں 1.5 پہ, اینڈ بائی 2030 یہ 1.5 سے ہم کراس کر جائیں گے. اور اگر یہ 2 سیلسیس پہ جاتی ہے اور 3 سیلسیس پہ جاتی ہے تو اس کی جو ایفیکٹس ہوں گے وہ زیادہ ڈینجرس ہوں گے, زیادہ خطرناک ہوں گے دنیا کے لیے. لیکن ایک ریسنٹ رپورٹ میں دیکھ رہا تھا, اس ریسنٹ رپورٹ میں یہ آیا ہے کہ دی ورلڈ ہیز بیکم مور ریزیلینٹ ایز کمپیئر ٹو پاسٹ, دیٹ if there were famines and there were droughts, there were cyclones, let's say in early 18 and early 20th century, تو اس میں زیادہ ڈیتھس ہو رہی تھیں, اور اگر ابھی ان میں دیکھیں تو وہ کم ہو رہی ہیں ڈیتھس. بنگلہ دیش کی مثال انہوں نے دی ہے کہ پہلے جو سائیکلون آتے تھے ان میں اگر 5 لاکھ 6 لاکھ لوگ مر رہے تھے, تو ابھی وہ بہت کم لوگ مر رہے ہیں. اس کی وجہ انہوں نے یہ بتائی ہے کہ دنیا, ورلڈ ہیز گون ٹو انوویشنس, ٹو ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ, اینڈ پیپل ہیو مور ریسورسز ٹو فیس دیز چیلنجز. اسی طرح سے ہم نے یہ دیکھا کہ ہمارے بعد والے جو اسپیکرز آئے انہوں نے بھی ہمیں کافی چیزوں کے بارے میں بتایا ہے. جیسے کہ شازینہ نے بہت ہی خوبصورتی سے ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ پہ بات کی, اور انہوں نے اسپیشلی ویمن امپاورمنٹ کی بات کی کہ وہ کس طرح سے ٹیکنالوجی کے پوائنٹ آف ویو سے ہم ان کو دیکھ سکتے ہیں. ولنریبلٹیز کے اوپر بات کی, یوتھ کو انہوں نے فوکس کرتے ہوئے بات کی, اور انہوں نے سالوشنس بڑے امپورٹنٹ بتائے ہیں جو کہ ہم سمجھتے ہیں کہ انوویشن ایجوکیشن میں ہوئی, ٹیکنالوجی پوائنٹ آف ویو سے ایگریکلچر میں انوویشنس کی بات, ٹریڈیشنل پریکٹسز کی بات ہو, یا یوتھ انگیجمنٹ میں جیسے کہ ٹک ٹاک ہے, اور یوتھ جو ہے ان کے جو پلیٹ فارمز ہیں, اور آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کی بھی بات یہاں پہ ہوئی. اسی طرح سے ڈفرینٹ ایپس ہیں, ای لرننگس ہیں, ان کی بات ہوئی, اور ہیلتھ کے اندر ٹیلی ہیلتھ, ٹیلی میڈیسن کی بات ہوئی. اسی طرح سے اگر ہم دیکھیں کہ خالد رشید صاحب یہاں پہ ہیں یا نہیں ہے, میرا خیال چلے گئے ہیں. I liked his presentation very much because he spoke about the artificial intelligence. His PhD is doing a lot of work along with Aga Khan University. So he spoke on some of the very important ideas کہ کس طرح سے مینول فیٹل بایومیٹری سونوگرافی ریپلیس کرے گی آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کے تھرو, اور آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کے ذریعے ہم جتنا ٹائم زیادہ کنزیوم ہوتا ہے اتنا جلدی ہم یہ کر پائیں گے. اور مجھے یہ بات ان کی اچھی لگی کہ فلپس کمپنی جو ہے وہ اس طرح کی آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس کی ایپس لا رہی ہے جو کہ فرنٹ لائن ورکرز اپنے اسمارٹ فونز پہ اپلائی کریں گے, اور دور دراز ریموٹسٹ ایریاز جن پہ ہم زیادہ بات کر رہے تھے ان پہ فوکس کر سکیں گے, اور وہ ہیلتھ لائن ورکرز وڈ بی ایبل ٹو پرووائڈ دیٹ کائنڈ آف سپورٹ ان ٹائم آف ہاؤ اے پریگننسی از ہائی رسک پریگننسی, اور کیا اس کے لیے ہونا چاہیے. جیسے ہم ریموٹ ایریاز کی بات کر رہے تھے, کوسٹل ایریاز کی بات کر رہے تھے. ہمارا جو سیشن آن سیکنڈ سیشن تھا, جو پینل ڈسکشن, اٹ واز آلسو ویری امپورٹنٹ, اینڈ سملرلی ندا نے بہت اچھا اس کو کنڈکٹ کیا, شازینہ نے, آصف اقبال صاحب نے, سیما ممتاز صاحبہ نے, اور عمیر اور ینگ چیپ, ان سب نے, اور عظیم خواجہ صاحب نے بہت اچھے طرح سے بات کی. اور مجھے ان تمام چیزوں میں یہ اچھا لگا کہ وی ٹاکڈ اباؤٹ دا چیلنجز آف دی انوائرمنٹ اینڈ کلائمیٹ چینج, وی ٹاکڈ اباؤٹ دی فردر آن آرٹیفیشل انٹیلیجنس اینڈ ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ. اور یہ ہم نے یہ اچھی بات نوٹ کی کہ یہ جو ہوم بیسڈ کام تھا یہ کووڈ کے دنوں کی ہمیں ایک لرننگ ملی، اور اس میں آپ دیکھیں کہ ابھی تک ہوم بیسڈ کام جو ہے اس کی امپورٹنس کو نوٹ کیا گیا ہے اور کہا جا رہا ہے کہ یہ امپورٹنٹ ہے اور کرنا چاہیے. یوتھ فرینڈلی اسپیسز پہ بہت اچھی بات ہوئی ہے کیونکہ آپ سب یوتھ ہیں، اور بلکہ میں یہ سوچ رہا تھا کہ ڈاکٹر سمیرہ رضوی کو اور منیشا کو اور ندا کو، سب پوری ٹیم کو یہ سجیسٹ کروں کہ نیکسٹ جو سمپوزیم ہو ہمارا، دیٹ شوڈ بی مور انگیجنگ دا یوتھ. اس کو ہم ایز اے فیسٹیول کم ریسرچ بیسڈ سمپوزیم بنا دیں کہ اس میں پینل سیشن بھی ہو، لیکن باہر ہمارے اسٹالس بھی لگے ہوں جس کو یہ یوتھ خود انوویشن ٹیکنالوجیز کو کے اسٹالس ہوں، ریسرچ کے اسٹالس ہوں، ڈفرینٹ جو ہے پروجیکٹس کے اپنے اسٹالس ہوں. ہم ڈیولپمنٹ پارٹنرس کو بلائیں اور یہ سارے جو ینگ پیپل، ینگ یوتھ ہے ہمارے زیبس کی، وہ ان کو والنٹیئر کریں، اور ہماری یہ کانفرنس جو ہے وہ زیادہ کلرفل ہو جائے گی، زیادہ انگیجنگ ہو جائے گی، زیادہ مطلب ہم اس ایکیڈمک سیٹنگ سے باہر نکل کے اس کو مور کریٹیو سمپوزیم بنا دیں گے. تو امید ہے کہ اس پہ ہم مزید بات بھی کریں گے اور اس کو مزید بہتر بنانے کی کوشش کریں گے. اسی طرح سے عظیم خواجہ نے بھی اچھے آئیڈیاز دیے، اسپیشلی جو انوویشن ان پرائمری ہیلتھ کیئر. اور میں ایک ہمارے جو فہیم صاحب نے بتایا، آئی تھنک آئی ایگری ود ہز آئیڈیاز. ریسورسز آر ناٹ این ایشو in Pakistan or in Sindh. We have plenty of resources. The problem is that we are not planning properly. We are planning things in a centralized manner. یہاں بات ہوئی کہ we should engage public health professionals for policy making. میں اس سے تھوڑا سا آگے جانا چاہوں گا کہ we should engage young people and we should engage communities who can make the policy makers accountable, who can implement those policies properly. میں ایک آدھ مثال تھوڑی سی دیر میں دے دوں گا. اور اسی طرح سے یہ پارٹنرشپ کے کا یہ مین چیز جو ہے وہ پارٹنرشپ کا معاملہ ہے. اب میں اس چیز پہ آتا ہوں کہ ہم بہت بات کر چکے ہیں، وی ہیو ٹاکڈ اباؤٹ کلائمیٹ چینج، لیکن پاکستان جو ہے کلائمیٹ چینج سے بہت زیادہ افیکٹ ہو رہا ہے. پاکستان کلائمیٹ چینج سے بھی افیکٹ ہو رہا ہے. پاکستان از بینگ افیکٹڈ تھرو اوور ویلمنگ پاپولیشن، اینڈ پاکستان از بینگ افیکٹڈ تھرو فیلئر آف لوکل سالوشنس اینڈ اسٹارم آف نیو ٹیکنالوجیز. ہم ایک طرف اپنے لوکل سالوشنس نہیں کر پا رہے. آپ کے سامنے کئی مثالیں ہوں گی کہ ٹی بی کے پیشنٹ کو 9 مہینے کی دوائی دی، اس نے 6 مہینے میں چھوڑ دی، آگے کھائی نہیں. اسی طرح سے دیر آر فیسلٹیز اویلیبل، پرائمری کیئر لیول پہ فیسلٹیز اویلیبل ہیں، بٹ دا سوشل اینڈ بیہیویئر چینج از ناٹ اویلیبل. لوگوں کی جو سوشل بیہیویئر چینج ہے وہ اس طرح سے نہیں ہے کہ ان فیسلٹیز کو یوز کریں. جو ہماری جو ڈیلیز ہیں، 3 ڈیلیز جو پریگننسیز کے ہیں، جو یہاں پہ ڈاکٹرز ہیں بیٹھے ہیں، 3 ڈیلیز کیوں ہو رہے ہیں؟ 3 ڈیلیز اس لیے ہو رہے ہیں کہ ہم جو ہے وہ فیسلٹیز کے یوٹیلائزیشن سے پہلے جو 2 ڈیلیز ہیں، گھر میں ڈیسیشن میکنگ، وہ چیزیں نہیں کر پا رہے. تو وی آر ناٹ بینگ ایبل ٹو اڈاپٹ local solutions, but at the same time, now we have come to an age where we are talking about artificial intelligence. So we have to cope these things into in a way that we could have some solutions around it. پاکستان کو پاکستان ایگرو اکنامک ریسرچ کاؤنسل نے پارک نے 3 زونس میں ڈسٹریبیوٹ کیا ہے کلائمیٹ چینج پوائنٹ آف ویو سے. ون از نارتھ provinces like Punjab and KP, they are less affected due to climate change. Sindh and Balochistan is more affected, and South Punjab, especially Rahim Yar Khan, these areas are more affected due to climate change. And if we look at the multidimensional poverty in those areas, more than 62% people are having multidimensional poverty in severely affected areas, जबकि बाकी में कम हैं. इसी तरह से स्टंटिंग है, न्यूट्रिशन के मेल न्यूट्रिशन है, या फिर इम्यूनाइजेशन है. ये सारे जो इंडिकेटर्स हैं ये सीवियरली अफेक्टेड एरियाज़ में ज़्यादा अफेक्टेड हैं. सिंध एंड बलूचिस्तान आपने देखा कि फ्लडिंग में भी बहुत ज़्यादा अफेक्ट हुआ. दैट इंक्लूड्स अर्बन फ्लडिंग इन कराची विच इज़ अ रेयर फिनोमेना, और ये भी अब हमारे सामने चीज़ है. पॉपुलेशन इस तमाम सिचुएशन में बहुत रिलेटेड है, और पॉपुलेशन इन पाकिस्तान इज़ इंक्रीजिंग enormously. Dr. Mehtab Karim has provided you some of the slides that how population of Pakistan is increasing at a faster pace, and Pakistan has become 5th most populous country in the world, and unfortunately has become 164th in the Human Development Index. ये सारी जो पॉइंट्स हैं, ये बातें हैं, ये हमारे उस चैलेंज को बढ़ा देती हैं, हमारा चैलेंज बढ़ जाता है. तो पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान ने कुछ पॉलिसीज़ बनाई हैं पॉपुलेशन की मैनेजमेंट के लिए. हमारा 1955 से प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, 65 तक चला, फिर 77 तक चला. उसकी हमने उस वक्त भी अवेयरनेस की बात की थी. 65 में हमने इंटीग्रेशन की बात की थी, जो आज हम इंटीग्रेशन की बात कर रहे हैं. अगर हम प्रोफेसर रॉबिन्सन की रिपोर्ट को पढ़ें तो वो सारी बात इंटीग्रेशन की उस वक्त भी हुई थी. तो पाकिस्तान ने जो 2017 का सेंसस किया, 2.4% की पर एनम पॉपुलेशन इज़ इंक्रीजिंग. जो सेंसस 2022 और 23 में हुआ जो डिजिटल सेंसस, उसमें पता चला कि ये 2.5% की रफ्तार से हम बढ़ रहे हैं, और 30 सालों में ये पॉपुलेशन डबल हो जाएगी. इस सिचुएशन में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सो मोटो एक्शन लिया. CCI काउंसिल ऑफ कॉमन इंटरेस्ट की 8 पॉलिसी डायरेक्शंस आई. तमाम सूबों ने उस पर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की बात की है. सिंध प्रोविंस भी जो है इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में बहुत आगे है, और हमने कॉस्टेड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्लान 2015 में बनाया, जो कि इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है, और उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का फ़ेज़ FP 2020 के नाम से पहले था, अब FP 2030 के नाम से है, वो सेकंड फ़ेज़ हमने शुरू किया है. लेकिन मैं आपसे ये शेयर करते हुए खुशी महसूस कर रहा हूँ कि एटलीस्ट हम किसी हद तक कामयाबियों की तरफ जा रहे हैं. पाकिस्तान सिंध का जो कंट्रासेप्टिव प्रीवेलेंस रेट 2017-18 में 31% था, वो पिछले चंद दिनों में एक रिपोर्ट आई है PMA की मेथडोलॉजी, जो ग्लोबल मेथडोलॉजी है, उसको यूज़ करते हुए सिंध में एक सर्वे हुआ है, और वो सर्वे हम कह सकते हैं कि रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सर्वे है. उसने हमें बताया है कि सिंध की जो कंट्रासेप्टिव प्रीवेलेंस रेट है वो 31% से बढ़ के 41.4% पे चला गया है. ये एक जो है वो. और जो दूसरी जो बात उन्होंने रिसर्चर्स ने की ड्यूरिंग द प्रेजेंटेशन, वो ये की तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा CIP के रिफॉर्म्स की वजह से हुआ है, कॉस्टेड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्लान. तो मैं आप जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं उसके लिए चंद लफ्ज़ों में CIP मॉडल बता दूंगा कि वो क्या है. CIP मॉडल ये है, यहाँ आप पॉलिसीज़ पे बात करते हैं, और आपके लिए बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात होगी कि हमने CIP 2015 में जो बनाया था उसको डिज़ाइन ऐसा किया कि वो इम्प्लीमेंटेबल हो. अगर कोई पॉलिसी डे 1 से इम्प्लीमेंटेबल नहीं बनाते आप, तो वो कामयाब नहीं होगी. उसके लिए 2 चीज़ें ज़रूरी हैं. 1, एविडेंस बेस्ड होनी चाहिए. दूसरी जो है वो ब्रॉड बेस्ड कंसल्टेटिव प्रोसेस के थ्रू होनी चाहिए. जब आपने कहा ना कि पब्लिक हेल्थ स्पेशलिस्ट को नहीं करते एंगेज, और मैं तो कहूँगा कम्युनिटीज़ को भी नहीं करते, तो अगर पॉलिसी सिर्फ एविडेंस बेस्ड पे है तो दैट इज़ जस्ट ए रिसर्च पेपर, नथिंग एल्स. اگر وہ پالیسی ایویڈنس کے ساتھ ساتھ براڈ بیس کنسلٹیٹیو پروسیس کے ذریعے بنی ہے تو دیٹ پالیسی از امپلیمنٹیبل. اور سی آئی پی کا یہی ڈفرینشیٹ تھا, یہی ڈسٹنکشن تھی کہ اٹ واز ایویڈنس بیسڈ اینڈ اٹ واز بیسڈ آن اے براڈ بیسڈ کنسلٹیٹیو پروسیس اپ ٹو دا گراس روٹس لیول, جہاں پہ ہم LHWs کے ساتھ بھی جا کے ہم نے پروسیس کیا. 2-3 چیزیں جو سی آئی پی ماڈل کی امپلیمنٹیشن کے دوران کی ہم نے. نمبر 1, انٹیگریشن آف ہیلتھ اینڈ پاپولیشن. انٹیگریٹڈ سروسز ہم نے پرووائڈ کروائیں تھرو ون منسٹر, ڈاکٹر عذرا فضل پیچو. جو دوسری بات تھی وہ یہ تھی کہ پارٹنرشپس. ہم نے ایک پارٹنرشپ بلڈ کی ہے FP2030 ورکنگ گروپ, جہاں پہ 28 تمام ڈیولپمنٹ پارٹنرز, پبلک سیکٹر کے ڈپارٹمنٹس جس میں کہ پاپولیشن, ہیلتھ, PPHI, LHW, فائنانس, P&D, سوشل ویلفیئر, یوتھ, یہ اس پلیٹ فارم پہ ساتھ بیٹھتے ہیں. اور یہ دوسری ہماری کامیابی تھی. تیسری جو چیز تھی وہ یہ تھی کہ ان وہیکلس کے تھرو, ان انسٹرومنٹس کے تھرو ہم نے ریفارمس انٹروڈیوس کیے. ریفارمس میں ہم نے لیڈی ورکرز کو موٹیویٹ کیا, فرسٹ ڈوز آف انجیکشن دیا اور باقی چیزیں کی. یہ وہ سی آئی پی ماڈل ہے جس پہ بہت ڈیٹیل سے بعد میں بات کریں گے, جس کی وجہ سے یہ CPR بڑھا ہے. لیکن ہمیں خوش اتنا زیادہ نہیں ہونا چاہیے, کیونکہ ہم اس CPR کو سسٹین کیسے کریں, دیٹ از اے چیلنج. کانٹینیوس کیسے کریں, دیٹ از اے چیلنج. اس میں یوتھ کی انگیجمنٹ کیسے کریں, دیٹ از اے چیلنج, جس کے لیے ہم بہت زیادہ کام کرنا چاہ رہے ہیں. اور انوویشن سالوشنس کی جب بات آتی ہے تو ہم نے فیملی پلاننگ میں سیانا پریس کو بھی انٹروڈیوس کروایا ہے, جو کہ DMPSC سیانا پریس از دا اونلی ماڈل جو کہ دنیا کے پہلے 19 کنٹریز میں تھا, اس میں سندھ ایک تھا جہاں پہ یہ ہم نے انٹروڈیوس کرایا. یہ 3 months انجیکشن ہے جو کہ عورت اپنی پرائیویسی میں خود بھی لگا سکتی ہے. لائک انسولن جب ہم لگاتے ہیں تو یہ سیانا پریس خود بخود لگا سکتے ہیں گھر پہ. تو یہ جو ڈیزاسٹر سچویشن ہوتی ہے, کلائمیٹ چینج کی سچویشن ہوتی ہے, اس میں آپ یہ بھی ایک انوویشن سالوشن ہے جس کو ہم کر سکتے ہیں. آخر میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ ہم کنکلوڈ اس بات پہ کرتے ہیں کہ یہ باتیں تو بہت ہیں, لیکن یہ جو سیمینار ہے, اس سیمینار کی کنٹینیوٹی کیا ہوگی, اس سمپوزیم کی کنٹینیوٹی کیا ہوگی, وہ میں تھوڑا سا بتانا چاہوں گا. کہ ہم نے کچھ یہاں پہ جو ڈسکشن کی ہے اس میں سے نکل کے چیزیں بھی آئی ہیں. نمبر 1, ہم اس کے نالج, ٹیکنالوجی اور بیسٹ پریکٹسز پہ مزید کام کریں گے. ویل کنٹینیو دس ورک, کہ جو نالج ہے, جو بیسٹ پریکٹسز ہیں, اس کو جو بھی ہمارے اسپیکرز نے بتائی ہیں. سیکنڈلی, وی ول پرائرٹائز ریسرچ ایریاز. تھرڈلی, وی ول امپلیمنٹ ایڈیپٹیو گورننس اسٹرکچرس. وہ گورنمنٹس کے ساتھ مل کے پالیسی ایڈوکیسی کی جائے گی. آخر میں یہ کہ انکریج گراس روٹس انوویشنس. یہ گراس روٹس پہ کام کرنا, جو لوکل سالوشن کی بات ہوئی ہے, وہ بہت ضروری ہے. اگلے اسٹیپس یہ ہوں گے کہ ہم جو ہے وہ کمپریہنسو اسسمنٹ آف دا ریجنل پاپولیشن گروتھ چیلنجز, اس کی کوئی ہم پارٹنرز کے ساتھ مل کے اسسمنٹ کرنے کی بات کریں گے. کوئی پائلٹ پروجیکٹس کی طرف جائیں گے یا پروجیکٹس کی طرف جائیں گے, تاکہ ہم ان سالوشنس کو, انوویشنس کو اسیس کریں. اور مزید جو ہے فورمز اور مزید جو ورکشاپس ہیں وہ ڈیولپ کی جائیں گی. اور اس میں ایک چیز کا اضافہ کرنا چاہوں گا کہ یہاں پہ یوتھ جو ہماری ہے, ان کے ساتھ ڈیڈیکیٹڈ سیشنز ہم کریں, تاکہ یوتھ کی جو نیڈز ہیں ان ٹرمز آف انوویشنز, ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ, یوتھ ہمیں زیادہ بتا سکتی ہے کہ وہ کس طرح سے نیو ٹیکنالوجی کو یوز کر رہے ہیں. یوتھ ہمیں زیادہ جو ہے سکھا سکتی ہے کہ وہ کس طرح سے ٹیکنالوجیکل ایڈوانسمنٹ میں آگے جانا چاہ رہے ہیں اور کیسے وہ چیزوں کو کر رہے ہیں. یوتھ ہمیں یہ بھی بتا سکتی ہے کہ جتنا وہ موبائل کا یوز کرتے ہیں اس کے فائدے اور بینیفٹس کیا ہیں اور نقصانات کیا ہیں. تو یہ تمام چیزیں جو ہیں وہ ہم یوتھ کے سیپریٹ ورکشاپس اور سیشنز کریں. میری تجویز ہے کہ ہم اگلے اسٹیپ کے طور پہ کریں گے. اسی کے ساتھ میں کانگریچولیٹ کروں گا ہمارے ڈپارٹمنٹ آف پبلک ہیلتھ ZABST یونیورسٹی کے. میں थैंक्स कहूँगा तमाम हमारे जो स्पीकर्स हैं और पैनल डिस्कसेंट हैं, और सबसे ज़्यादा मैं थैंक्स कहूँगा स्टूडेंट्स को और फैकल्टी को जो यहाँ पे 2-4 घंटों से बैठे हुए हैं। और थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर पैशंस, और वी विल कंटिन्यू दिस डायलॉग, discussion and such policy level discourse. Thank you so much.
So I think our 3 hours together, we have tried to learn, to understand what are the systems that are in place, from innovation to technology to climate to population growth. All the key terms were discussed, all the issues were touched upon from real life settings. Dr. Talib ने आपसे जिक्र किया evidence based policy making. Policy making is different, evidence based policy making is different. So there is a difference. I hope my students understood. Thank you to all my faculty members, my panel, esteemed panel members. I'll start from Dr. Seema Mumtaz. She's a faculty and a panel member. Miss Shazina Masood, thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Mehtab Kareem, he was the chairperson. He was kind enough to give his valuable insights. He was throughout with us during the whole process of planning this second symposium of public health. Dr. Talib Lashari. Dr. Talib Lashari is a wealth of experience, wealth of knowledge. We are blessed to have him on our board. He's one of the board members of ZABIST University. He has always shown his interest and willingness and availability to guide us and to support us. Mr. Asif Iqbal, social policy reform maker, a person who is working with high-leveled policy making. I believe he is another asset to our research and development committee of ZABIST University. We frequently meet and we discuss the formulation and the future of our policies that can help our students. We have our youth here, Umair. Umair is again working very closely with us on few collaborative projects. We have Azim. Azim, thank you so much. We worked together on the latest polio campaign that has just winded up. So Azim took his precious time out in the morning also, and he came back in this evening, and we have been together for the whole day with him. So I'll not take much of your time. Dr. Talib ne aise baat ki, our first symposium, this is our second symposium by the way, our first symposium was around floods. The lessons learned from floods 2022. This time we tried to take a step ahead and try to understand what innovations or digitalizations or new techniques, AI-related techniques can be taken care of just to have some predictive models. थोड़ी बहुत बात हुई, but I understand this is not the only forum जहाँ के ऊपर ये इतनी complex discussions conclude कर सकें हम. We are looking forward कि students, हम faculty members, we will together sit together और आगे का सोचना है कि AI को कैसे हम incorporate करें into our systems. आगे के हमारे take home messages can be AI driven. ठीक है, but जैसे कि उमर ने बात की कि AI को यूज़ करते हुए we have to be double cautious. So at this moment, I would like to thank all my dear students who have been with us for the last 3 hours. They were not allowed to go out. They were listening to us. Thank you so much, students. My dear faculty members, they have worked tirelessly to make this event successful. Dr. Nida Shoaib, Dr. Madiha Beg, Dr. Saima Akhund, Dr. Manisha, she was the MOC of the ceremony, a young girl who wonderfully carried out the MOC. I was just sitting at the back and enjoying the session, listening to all of you. Miss Tabina Wakas, he is my support. So he's everybody's support. Thank you so much, Vakas. Thank you, everyone. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody's name. Last but not the least, my Dean, Dr. Kashif Ali, he's not here. Thank you, sir. I would, in his absence, I'm taking this opportunity to thank him. Madam Shanaz Wazir Ali, she has always been a support, our backbone. She loves public health and we love her. So without her, nothing would be possible. Our VP Academics, thank you everybody. Thank you, ZABIST University. And now I think it's time for a good dinner. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful words. So now the session has come to an end, and we would like to present a token of appreciation to our experts. For that, I request Dr. Talib Lashari and Dr. Mehtab Kareem to present the shield to our panelists. So can we have you on the stage, please? So firstly, now I would like to call Ms. Shazina Masood on the stage. Dr. Nida, can we have you on the stage, please? Dr. Madhya, please. Mr. Asif Iqbal. Dr. Seema Mumtaz. Mr. Azim Khwaja. मैडम का वो सर दूर थे ना तो इसीलिए मैंने नाम ले लिया कि आ जाए थैंक यू मिस्टर अजीम ख्वाजा and lastly Mr. Umair Aslam. Thank you so much, everyone. We are extremely grateful to our esteemed guest, Dr. Nida Shoaib. Dr. Madhya Beg. Ms. Tabina Ali. Mr. Vakas Ahmed. सर मैं अपना नाम लिखूं and myself, Dr. Manisha. Thank you, everyone. We are extremely grateful to our esteemed guests for sparing your valuable time and being a part of this event. It was an honor to have you all with us. Dear all, the event has successfully come to an end with your presence. I thank ZABIST team for making this event successful. It would not have been possible without your tireless efforts. I request my ushers to escort our esteemed guests to the designated dinner area. Please enjoy your meal. Thank you.